Hope again. Buckman on the Buford Lending live stream. DC and LeVar up early with us as we get going here following a weekend that was South Carolina unable to continue the momentum built in the victory over Florida. They go on the road this weekend to Missouri, and they had chances. Opportunities were there. A chance to go up early on 14-0 in that ball game and not able to take advantage. A turnover. Missouri marches down the field, ties the ball game, and then really goes on to kind of take complete control there for a little while. South Carolina able to tie it up, but Missouri kicking the field goal right before halftime to take a 17-14 lead into the break. That thing would get bigger as the game develops. South Carolina had opportunities down the stretch, not really the way you draw them up or the way you want them, but they had opportunities following a late score, could not get the stop. And 31-28, the final. South Carolina 5-5 now, and we'll come back home for two games. Auburn this weekend, 7 o'clock ESPN, and then we will find out the Clemson game time sometime around noon today, whether it be a noon game, a 4 o'clock game, a night game again. It'll be up to the SEC and their scheduling department since it's a home game for South Carolina, but not able to continue the momentum, and there were opportunities. There were just opportunities. It's not like Missouri was a great football team that went out and just won the football game. South Carolina didn't exactly perform as they should have, and Missouri took advantage. Tyler Beatty takes advantage, and South Carolina now 5-5 on the season. The Clemson Tigers got into a pillow fight with Connecticut. Connecticut ran the opening kickoff back, and for a little while, everybody had a chuckle as Connecticut took a 7-0 lead on Clemson, and then Clemson figured out that it was football, and they're better at it than Connecticut. And now Clemson gets a Wake Forest team that is putting up points in absolute bunches. Wake Forest defeats North Carolina State over the weekend. We'll get into the weekend that was across the board. Another undefeated team goes down, one that I think a lot of us have thought that very well may happen. Oklahoma loses to Baylor, and tomorrow night we'll get an updated college football playoff ranking, as now things really do start to shift into focus. Those first two rankings generally, I think, are done for television purposes and just basically to get people talking, and the committee is just kind of setting it up for later on. The one that will come out tomorrow night will start to really give us a better feel for where everyone is at moving through toward the end of November. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100 is exactly how you can do that this morning. Two different ways: the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, as always, you can join us on the Buford Lending live stream this morning if you'd like to do that and get yourself up and going. Again, DC, LeVar, Trey, Dakar, Anthony, Robin, everybody getting in. DC, the O-line cost us the game. Yes, the offensive line, certainly a very, very poor product put out there on Saturday night from South Carolina on the offensive line. As you know, Missouri figured it out early on. Pressure Jason Brown, attack the offensive line. They were not going to be able to stand up and provide any kind of protection, really open up the run game. I didn't like the fact that South Carolina never, as far as I could tell, got Trey Jones in at the fullback spot. We saw South Carolina go to a fullback a few times with different people. Jaheim Bell lined up there, but South Carolina never really going back to what seemed to work for them against Florida. Some of the counters and some of the power runs were there, but I really like the Trey Jones idea, but South Carolina never going to that. And then the offensive line, just horrendous, for lack of a better term, just absolutely horrendous. Could not contain Trajan Jeffcoat and that Missouri defensive line, and it ends up costing South Carolina a chance to become bowl eligible on Saturday afternoon. So again, we'll get to a lot of you who are weighing in this morning. 803-404-6100. Raj weighs in upon further review. Florida is awful, and so is South Carolina. Yeah, well, Florida, pretty bad. 70, was it 70-56, I believe? 70-52 was the final over Samford. That was an interesting short little while for Florida over the weekend. 70-52 as Samford, the mighty Bulldogs of Samford,
put up quite the fight on Florida there on Saturday, and maybe more telling of what the Gators are. We'll see what they do moving forward with Dan Mullen. I mean, again, you get rid of Todd Grantham, now you're kind of out of fastballs to throw to your administration as to how to fix things. 803-404-6100. Newberry Chris weighing in and says, if Dabo starts DJ against South Carolina, Carolina will win by a lot. Well, we'll see. South Carolina's offense still has to perform. So, and then Nick weighing in. I'm sorry y'all are sad this morning, but it's great to be a Georgia Bulldog. 8-0 in the SEC. Time to get healthy and get ready for Atlanta. Didn't realize it was Georgia's first time ever going undefeated in the SEC or having the 8-0 record. I think they might have gone undefeated. Well, they didn't go undefeated back in 1980, but certainly something to give thought there is, Georgia looking more and more like the number one team in the country, a team that's not going to be challenged until they get to the college football playoff. I'm interested to see. It looks like we're heading toward that Alabama-Georgia showdown that we've all been wanting, and we will get that in Atlanta as Texas A&M loses over the weekend. Again, we'll get into the weekend that was, some very interesting results outside of Columbia, Missouri that we can talk about. And if you want to weigh in on college football as a whole outside of your team, you're more than welcome to do that. Clemson fans, I'm sure you've got opinions. As Clemson opening as a favorite at home against Wake Forest this coming weekend, South Carolina opening as a 10-point underdog. Now, that was early yesterday afternoon. There was some breaking news last night. I guess breaking might be the wrong way to put it, but some news last night out of Auburn. Bo Nix out with an injury, will be done for the season, it appears, or at least this weekend. I saw two conflicting reports that he will have surgery and is expected to miss the remainder of the season. I say the remainder of the season, I guess the regular season. I saw one that said he could come back for a bowl game, depending on when they do that. But Bo Nix with a broken foot that he suffered during the Mississippi State game, or ankle, one of the two. Again, I never got complete. I think ESPN had ankle. I believe AL.com had foot. But the bottom line is Bo Nix out for the South Carolina game this coming weekend. So, hey, good news. That guy that everybody's familiar with from last year, TJ Finley, you get to see him again. How about that? Talk about things coming full circle there. TJ Finley will get the start this coming weekend for Auburn. So we'll get into Auburn as we go through the week. Certainly a lot of things. It's always that Monday morning therapy deal that we do here. And for South Carolina fans, certainly offering some therapy may be the right way to do it, because a weekend where opportunity was there and it was simply not taken advantage. The opportunity to become bowl eligible, to continue to build upon the victory over Florida. South Carolina not able to do it, and they fall to 5-5 on the season, and two games, neither of which that they will be favored in over the next two, giving them the opportunity to become bowl eligible. We'll see if they're able to do that. Again, if you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. Myself, Jen Jensen, in the studio this morning. We'll get to all the Cool Care Heating and Air text line messages. A lot of you are up extremely early, and we appreciate you joining us each and every morning. So certainly don't want to leave any of your, if you have well thought out opinions, out of the mix. We don't know we know where Patrick Perret is. He flight troubles, I believe, coming out of Missouri, probably made for a longer weekend, or a long weekend, even longer for him, Jen. So I think both of us agreed, based on the text messages we saw from him last night, getting back into Charlotte, that it was going to be unlikely. We heard from Patrick this morning, but we expect him back tomorrow. Give him a morning to sleep in, given that it sounded like he didn't land in Charlotte until late, or early this morning.
Sounded like about 12:30. And St. Louis isn't the place to get
stranded in the airport.
No, I've been stranded there before. I actually flew through there on the way to Chicago this weekend, and but I wasn't stranded. Fortunately, I was able to just go back out.
Yeah. So Patrick hopefully is okay. We haven't heard from him since, I believe, he took off, but we assume he is okay. So if you're wondering where old Patrick Perret is this morning, he will be back in this coming week, just probably needing a little bit of sleep. 803-404-6100. Again, I see a lot of you out there on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. We will get to those opinions. Certainly the chances there for South Carolina on the football field, and they do not get it done. Basketball, they split over the weekend. knocking off Western Kentucky yesterday, however, falling to Princeton 66-62 on Friday night. So a 1-1 trip to the Asheville Championship Tournament or Asheville Tournament, whatever they were calling it, the multi-team event that took place up at Harrah's Cherokee Casino in Asheville, or it actually was not at the casino. It was, I guess, in the facility there that is named the Harrah's Cherokee Casino Arena. But South Carolina 1-1. We'll get into that a little bit as the Gamecocks had some chances there to show us, both fans and media, what they could be. They'll have a home game on Thursday night against UAB as well. Home game against University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Andy Kennedy. So we'll talk a little basketball as well. And again, the weekend that was an interesting weekend across the board in college football. Another undefeated goes down. Georgia cements themselves as number one. Alabama moving ahead of Cincinnati in the AP poll. Oh, and a text message from Patrick Perrette. Jen, he's on his way. Just being in a few minutes.
So that's a trooper right there.
Patrick will play through it this morning and join us to give hot takes as well. Wide open this morning, no guests, so that we can get to your thoughts and opinions if you want to weigh in, again, on the Cool Care Heating and Air Takes line or the Love Chevy phone lines. 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. And certainly a lot of opinions and thoughts out there, whether you're a Clemson fan and you want to weigh in on their performance against Connecticut, which really wasn't that good either. But again, Connecticut stinky at football, and Clemson able to take advantage of that. South Carolina missing all the opportunities in the world to become bowl eligible. Basketball opinions as well, or if you've got one across the board. Ole Miss knocking off Texas A&M, Wake Forest, North Carolina State, the two games that were the first ranked games, actually pretty entertaining. Mississippi State coming back from 28-3 to beat Auburn in Auburn. That was kind of a wild game. So, again, a lot to get into, a lot to talk about this morning. Glad you're up and with us on a Monday morning, November the 15th here, 6:17, your Monday morning time. Hope you're doing well out there. Look forward to spending the next 2.5 hours with you. You're listening to the early game on 107.5, The Game.
More of the early game coming up on 107.5, The Game.
Really was a great weekend when everything kind of boiled down to it. Yeah, okay, maybe my favorite teams didn't win, and that kind of wasn't a lot of fun. But you know what? Getting a great night of sleep each and every time I do it, it is absolutely fantastic. And with a Sleep Number bed, I'm guaranteed to get a great night of sleep each and every night. Put that Sleep Number setting on 55. Wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go. Was ready to experience college football Saturday. I enjoyed Sunday a little bit, watching the NFL, watching college basketball, all because I started with a great night of sleep. Proven quality sleep is indeed life-changing sleep. Don't miss Sleep Number's Veterans Day weekend sale, where you can save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed, plus free premium home delivery when you add a base. But that deal ends today. So you need to go find a Sleep Number store today. Good news. I got two of them for you. One in Irmo and Harbison Boulevard, across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, Two Notch Road, across from Sand Hills Mall, is the two places you can go. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, right now, the Sleep Number Veterans Day weekend sale, saving $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed, plus free premium home delivery when you add a base. But the deal ends today. Don't miss the opportunity to save some money, pick up a fantastic bed, get great nights of sleep, all when you make the switch to Sleep Number, which you should do. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, the true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com. No major slowdowns right now. It's a good start to your Monday morning. And your forecast for today, sunny.
There we go.
63 for the high, overnight low of 36. Possibility of maybe some frost even in there. 71 tomorrow, but right now, chilly start. 38.
Anthony.
75 The Game.
Patrick's gonna play through it. I don't have all the details on when he got in and what was going on, but
you get guys who are visual idea experts and collaborators who are going to work with you to come up with a plan that uses exactly the right mix of innovative marketing and graphic solutions to give your business what it needs. Fast Signs can take care of anything you need to take care of you all around America. On your life arena, 712229 Harvesting Outback Solar and Seed, 712229 Fast Run.
All right. The one thing I'll say, I don't know how invested Auburn will still be in the season. I don't know if you guys saw the game. That was quite a blown game by Auburn there. It'll be interesting. Now Bo Nix is out. It's kind of almost maybe a situation similar to Florida. You wonder how invested they'll be. They're 6-4 with South Carolina and Alabama still to play. Not that South Carolina's not that South Carolina is exactly a powerhouse there they need to worry about. By the way, good morning to everybody. DC, LeVar, Trey, Carr, Anthony. Welcome in, everybody. Glad to see everybody up and moving. Boy, did not want to get up and get moving this morning. It was a very relaxing, very enjoyable weekend. And yes, it was chilly. I did get the boat out, Craig. I did take a tour of Lake Murray yesterday. It was a nice day. Had a sweatshirt on. Got the boat going. Got out a little bit. Drove around Baum Island a little bit. Came back. Had some salmon, rice, green beans with the kids last night. Tried to watch Jungle Cruise, which apparently is the longest movie ever in the history of movies. Ooh. I guess I should. Let's see here. $6.5. So because of the Bo Nix injury.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studio.
All right.
1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet.
If you get a chance, might want to email me or just send me some promos. I know we've probably got a few things. Next Tuesday, we're at Bojangles somewhere. $803-404-6100. Almost you'd think by now I'd say the phone number most mornings. I know exactly the phone number, how you can get in touch with us, but that's how you can do so. 803-404-6100. Patrick Perrette, fresh off of the plane, rolling in. Most people just saying that he's overly excited with his Washington football team victory that they got to experience yesterday. So we'll get his take. We'll let him get settled in and let him get his take here in a few minutes.
Don't go to Missouri.
Don't go to Missouri. Okay, there's the hot take right off of the bat. Doesn't even barely sits down. So we'll
That's the take. It's cold. It's far. You can't fly into Missouri. You got to drive 2 hours to St. Louis. Don't go to Missouri.
Welcome. Get settled in. Get settled in. We'll let you. We got 2.5 hours. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. That line I mentioned, Bo Nix out this weekend. TJ Finley will be the starting quarterback. Yeah, the Vegas line over the night dropping from 10 to 6.5 is what it's down to. So, but we'll get into Auburn as we go through the week. Plenty of time to discuss South Carolina and Auburn here at Williams-Brice Stadium Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Right now, we'll focus on what happened this past weekend, South Carolina and Missouri. Again, 31-28, the final score. Yeah, the offensive line. There was no doubt the offensive line let South Carolina down, and I'm not trying to place blame necessarily anywhere else. But South Carolina also had to stop the running game. We talked about Tyler Beatty and how he is a quality player and he could hurt you, and he hurt South Carolina. The Gamecocks did not offer much resistance. 34 carries, 209 yards, and a touchdown. South Carolina as a team, 35 carries, 57 yards. So Beatty with one less carry and a whole lot more yardage than South Carolina's. Quandre White led the way, 10 carries, 60 yards. Kevin Harris, 14 carries, 36 yards. Marshawn Lloyd, 6 carries, just 8 yards on the day. Jason Brown, 4 carries for -50. So the sacks there obviously really setting South Carolina back. But the defensive line, the defense as a whole, they get the 2 interceptions from Connor Bazelak. Both of them very, very, very bad throws that gave South Carolina opportunities. And Patrick, as you get settled down here and get settled in, yeah, besides going to Missouri, you were there.
Yeah.
Feet were on the ground. You were in the stadium, saw the great video of you and your sister. It was kind of a birthday treat present for you. And we'll get into the trip, the entire trip, as we kind of go through. But just being in the stadium, South Carolina had a huge opportunity early. They get the ball, second drive of the game. They're able to go down and score. They do it behind the run game. It looked at the moment like South Carolina might actually be able to continue the momentum that was built from the Florida game. Cam Smith gets the interception. That's what leads to the first score. Then South Carolina is able to get it back, and it looks like they're going to go in for another easy score, and the offensive line comes unraveled. Marshawn Lloyd gets hit in the backfield. It really looked like he never had a chance to even get the football before he got tackled, and Missouri just takes it straight away from him. South Carolina goes up 14-0 there. Who knows if you knock Missouri out? It was a golden opportunity that they flat let get away from them at that moment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just disappointing because most people probably only knew. First of all, you probably only knew one play on Missouri. Maybe the quarterback. You knew the quarterback and you knew Tyler Beatty. And who beat you? Tyler Beatty. And then the one thing that Missouri wasn't good at, you couldn't capitalize on. I think we're going to look back and we're just going to forever be confused by the Florida game. Like how did it work so well? What did we see? Where was Trey Jones yesterday? Where was what we'd seen be so successful? I mean, 57 yards is just terrible. I mean, what are we doing? They packed the box. I guess we're just incapable of adjusting. This team is incapable of adjusting because, I mean, you just watched every play and it seemed like it was just the box was so packed on every single play and we just couldn't do anything outside of Josh Van. Basically couldn't do anything to take advantage of it, and it was astounding how little adjustment there was.
It was, I think, because there's part of me, and I tweeted this during the game and then got agitated myself and came back and said that they should go to Trey Jones. But it was a situation where it was hard to run. It's hard to run on 8-9 man boxes, and that's exactly Missouri basically was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stuff the box, and we're going to force you to throw it. But you're right, there was nothing to the perimeter. Just swinging it out on the perimeter to get it outside of the tackle box and see if your guys could make a move. I'll never forget a game that Steve Spurrier coached. Now, and it's unfair. I'm not trying to compare Marcus Satterfield to Steve Spurrier by any stretch of the imagination, but where South Carolina just simply lined up and threw in the bigger receivers that night. They were on the road at Vanderbilt, and they just threw the little wide receiver screen out. And all you had was Torrey Gurley blocking for Alshon Jeffrey or Jeffrey blocking for Torrey Gurley. Really, there were multiple times South Carolina simply could have just, if you could have gotten Jaheim Bell out there, if you could have gotten E.J. Jenkins out there and put him in front of Josh Van and just put Josh Van in one-on-one situations out on the perimeter. just out there, kind of like an extended handoff. I'm with you on not being able to make adjustments for what felt like a game plan that South Carolina said, all right, we're just going to run the ball up the middle. Oh, and now Missouri can stop that. So I guess we got to throw it downfield to Josh Vann. Very little from everybody else. EJ Jenkins did catch one pass on Saturday night from Jason Brown. One catch, 10 yards. To Carry On Joyner had one catch, 9 yards. Nick Muse 1 for 8. Jaheim Bell had 2 for 28, and Zaquandre White had 2 for 42. Jaheim Bell again 2 for 28 there, and Josh Vann, you mentioned it, 5 for 62. But yeah, the lack of change there in the play calling, as you noticed what Missouri was going to do, certainly something that goes back to the first 8 games.
When it just it doesn't make sense. So you'll have Juju McDowell running the ball out of the Wildcat from the 1 yard line when he's 160 pounds, but doesn't even sniff the field when you can't get anything up the middle. Like you couldn't try the outside game with him at any point. Like there was we just thought that we'll just run into him a bunch of times and at some point it's going to work. And that was basically the plan. And yeah, it was head scratching to say the least, how you just we're not prepared to do anything different. I guess they were just so confident that we'll be able to run the ball against them. Everyone else has been able to. Does that mean the South Carolina offensive line is just that bad? And how did it? I will never understand how it worked last week and couldn't work this week. I mean, it was a bad defensive line last week that you made look phenomenal, and I'll never understand why. I don't know. I don't know what was more frustrating: the inability to run the football, or the inability to stop the run. As we watch the replay on SEC Network right now, just 209 yards. The SEC's leading rusher, who this is who you have to stop coming into the game, and he did absolutely whatever he wanted. The tackling was poor, not just on him. There was that pitch play that 1 million tackles and 200 yards were utilized to gain 50 yards. It was just, it was a poor display overall.
803-404-6100. I'll get to the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Marshall, Scott, York, John in Somerville, Lee. I see a bunch of you. We will get out to those takes that you're sending in. Continue to send them on in. 803-404-6100. Again, you can also join us this morning on the Buford Lending live stream. You can see Patrick is wearing his Washington football team. I guess it's the Washington football team. You can see him wearing his stocking cap coming straight in off of the plane from Missouri. We'll continue to get his take on just the trip overall and getting your takes as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick. Weekdays, 9 until noon. On 107.5 The Game.
Oh, the Silverado at Love Chevrolet is back. Yep, that means you need to get out to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, the place that has the largest selection of Chevrolets anywhere in the Midlands, and now that includes the Chevrolet Silverado, well known as one of the best tailgating vehicles or travel vehicles anywhere amongst all the competition. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And the best part about what's going on at Love Chevrolet right now, they are not adding those ridiculous add-on stickers. Unlike other dealerships, Love Chevrolet not suddenly tacking extra add-ons to the price of their new cars to take advantage of customers during this time of high demand and low supply. So if you get out there, you can continue to get the great deal you've always got. The $1,000 low price guarantee, the lowest prices of anywhere in the Midlands. You can continue to find the largest selection of Chevrolets anywhere in the Midlands. And of course, the continued incredible service, the relationships that are built through the great salespeople at Love Chevrolet. Go find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Love Chevrolet, being in business over 60 years. And there's a reason for that. It's the way they treat their customers and what they do for their customers, even after the sale is over. Go find out again for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
All right. So you straight off of the plane, basically?
Yeah, I got in at 3 o'clock.
Nice. So I was in bed by the time I saw text messages.
Yeah, I was in the Missouri airport, the St. Louis airport for like 8 hours.
Yucky.
So we had to get out of the hotel room by noon. So we just went to St. Louis, which is 2 hours. And the flight wasn't supposed to be until 6:30. So we were there for 4.5 hours before the flight was supposed to get there, and then it got delayed 7 hours.
So what
Or
was
it got delayed 3 hours to 9:30.
what was the I got you, you're muted. I couldn't unmute you.
So on this, just pick like 2 or 3 that you want to mention. You don't have to go through the whole list.
Okay. Are they numbered or anything, or what do I need to tell you?
No, you don't tell me. Just rotate whatever that sounds good. But we're supposed to do 1 each hour. So even if you cross off and just repeat.
What is that? What is that?
It's a sweet bids auction.
Oh.
And then, but maybe go to 2 pages. So then, in fact, I already got a hot tip outline and the TSO. There's nothing about the whatever on Tuesday yet.
Yeah, no, they just next Tuesday. You saw that? Yep. I'm not sure. It's either the one downtown by the stadium or the one in Lexington.
Okay. Is that something that got texted you guys or?
Yeah, it popped up Friday because they were trying to sell those things, and so Joe wanted to get in on it, and so yeah, so we're. It hadn't. I mean, it's finalized. It got finalized late Friday. Like everything's done, but in terms of like what store it's at, like I was sitting there yesterday, and it dawned on me to text Josh and like, hey, make sure they got Wi-Fi there so that we can do the live stream. So Josh must have checked. So there's still some stuff that's got to be like hammered out for that. Yeah. And so far, let's see, no carries. I wrote it down. I left on my thing. Like we got a guy from Auburn on Wednesday. Brian Maddox is Wednesday. Doctor Thursday. Brian Edwards Thursday. I'm trying to for the next few days.
Like I said, I'm out tomorrow. I would say plan anything out on Wednesday, but if I can make it in, I'll make it in. I think that's probably a safer way to do it. Just because I'm having surgery on both sides of my mouth. I wouldn't want to not be able to talk for you guys.
That'd be awful.
Me too.
Oh no.
Generally, really disappointed. Right.
So other than that, the trip, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was
I mean, you've been. Now you can say you've been.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, I left like 10 a.m. Friday just to get to the airport, so I didn't fall asleep. Sat in the airport the Charlotte airport for a couple hours. We got there at 9 o'clock, I think, or 8 o'clock, 8:30 on Friday night. Just sat in the Hooters next to our hotel for a couple hours, and then Saturday was all about the game, and then Sunday was 13 hours of travel. So
Yeah, so
it was a lot of travel for a lot of time sitting in airports, and I think I probably sat in an airport for as long as I was in Columbus.
nice. This is gotta be a short one because I got one more break here. It is that time of the year, holiday shopping. Maybe you're stumped on what to get that one person who has it all. Look no further and shop local with our Sweet Bids auction. We have items that are pretty awesome here. You can go out to the webpage 1075 The Game and check it out. The Sweet Bids auction is where you can check this out. A Columbia Museum of Art friend package valued at $550. Maybe that's something that you think you'd like to add. And
And I think this is the question. He says, we have to win the games you're supposed to win. And that certainly seemed like a game South Carolina could have won, should have won, would have, could have, should have. I apologize. I think it was another texter down here who said 48 years of Charlie Brown having the football pulled out from below them. Yeah, Mitch, thank you. 48 years of being Charlie Brown, having Lucy snatch the ball away. Certainly, again, look, one thing to point out, Patrick, I don't know. The game was a pick 'em. It's not like South Carolina's favorite, and I'm not making excuses for South Carolina. What I am saying is it's not like South Carolina is some great football team that was just going to roll into Columbia, Missouri and light up Missouri and roll over them. I thought that they would win the football game. I think both of them picked them in our pick 'em contest. They certainly did themselves no favors on Saturday, but South Carolina's a team struggling to find themselves. And the best player on the field Saturday night was Tyler Beatty, and he was the absolute difference. To me, he was the difference in the ballgame, 209 yards rushing. The South Carolina offensive line was bad, don't get me wrong. But when you got a kid who can run for 209 yards and take control of the football game as Beatty did, you can win the football game.
Yeah, and that's almost just as disappointing as the lack of the run game, because you knew that was the guy on their team that you needed to worry about. And then, I mean, I guess it wasn't just that. It was who was it? I'm looking at the box. Mookie Cooper was the one that had that little pitch play, goes for 60 yards, and everybody on the defense had a chance to tackle him at some point during that play, and just no one could do it. But when you know that they have one guy, and that is who they're going to go to every single time, he touches the ball, 34 carries plus 5 catches. He touches the ball 39 times. Like, you have to have a plan for that guy. He is their whole offense, basically, and there's nothing you could do. You just let him beat you. That's just unacceptable. So, I mean, this one's as much on the defense as it is on the offense. If you asked, I don't know what I would have said if you asked me on Friday, hey, you're going to score 28 points. Think you can win the football game with 28 points? I would have probably said, yeah, I would have felt pretty good about that. I mean, especially without Connor Bazelak, I guess credit to him for playing the game. He was banged up, but still played. But it's not like he was great or anything. He was 15 and 23 is a decent little average, but he threw the ball away twice, and you just still should have won the game. There's no excuse to let one guy beat you like that, knowing full well he's the SEC's leading rusher. He's who they're going to go to every single time, and they just fed him and fed him and fed him, and you let him go over 200. You're not going to win many games that way.
46 carries, 258 yards, the total number there from Missouri in the run game, a 5.6 yard per carry average. Missouri didn't play a great game. 8 penalties, 90 yards. There was one series in which Missouri basically just moved South Carolina out to midfield because of penalties, and South Carolina could do nothing with it. The Gamecocks finished with 250 total yards, 193 through the air, as Jason Brown throws 16 of 30 for 2 touchdowns, 193 yards, and 1 interception on the night. Again, you mentioned Connor Bazelak comes back from injury, 15 of 23, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But the offensive line for South Carolina not able to generate any kind of protection for Jason Brown. And I think that makes it maybe a little bit better of what Jason Brown was able to do. Obviously, the big play, 17-14. South Carolina's right there in the game, 17-14 with about 5 minutes to go, third quarter, backed up deep in their own territory. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a screen pass. I'm not sure if the offensive line just decided that they were going to, all 5 of them were going to Olay the defensive line and not block. The blitz was on. Missouri comes right at Jason Brown. They're able to knock the ball out of his hands into the end zone, and Missouri pounces on it to go up 24-14, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. Again, South Carolina rallies late, an interception by Brad Johnson set South Carolina up for a touchdown to cut it to 3.
Right. And they tried to let you back in the game.
And here's the thing, and this is why I'm not – South Carolina's offensive line is certainly they deserve a lot of the blame here for South Carolina losing the football game. But it also should be noted, South Carolina gets the ball back here – or excuse me, Missouri gets the ball back with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. South Carolina gets a stop. They would have had the ball back with a chance to go down and kick the field goal, and instead Missouri and Tyler Beatty just run it down South Carolina's throat over the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds, run the clock out, and win the ball game.
That's happened, I think, a couple times this year where you have over 5 minutes. I can't remember who else did this. It's really frustrating to watch, though, just knowing exactly what they're going to do. They're going to run. You got 4.5 minutes to kill, and they just go 8 plays, 8 runs, kill the clock and that's it. There's absolutely nothing you can do. They did not attempt a single pass, I don't believe, in that last drive. No, it was 8 consecutive runs and they're gaining 50 yards on you. They just manned up and they just out physicaled you. They were just that is very, very difficult to go back and watch in the film room. I can imagine on a Sunday when that's probably why they didn't practice today. They just lifted because they said, hey, you knew fully well you could have put all 11 guys in the box. They were just going to run the football and there's nothing you could do to stop it. That is unacceptable.
803-404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning. Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Tyson weighs in. This is the absolute worst offensive line I've ever seen. They are downright atrocious, and that was one of the worst defenses they were supposed to see all year. It's only going to get worse. Bun weighing in this morning after the Florida game. This was just so disappointing. Can't lose perspective on an overall decent season so far, though. CD weighing in. Again, Cool Care Heating and Air text line. We had our chances. Poor O-line play and failure to tackle the running back cost us a 6-win season probably. And Joey from Sumter, anybody let Jason Brown know it's okay to scramble to your right and also that you can go left without turning a complete circle before you do so. So, and Scott weighing in, yeah, Jason Brown, negative 50 yards rushing. That's bad for a mobile quarterback, according to Scott. 803-404-6100. Craig weighing in on the Buford Lending live stream, says not beating Kentucky, Missouri, or Tennessee. Disappointing. And yeah, those were the 3 games, Patrick, that we pointed at and said, to become bowl eligible, you probably got to win, 2 of those 3. The fact that they beat Florida, I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean for South Carolina, but at the end of the day, they are 5-5, 2 games to go. We'll continue to talk about that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Live, local, and free. That's how we do sports. 107.5 The Game. Feel free to call and complain if you wish.
You should call that radio station and let him have it.
Remember, we are free of charge, after all.
Unbelievable that next week will be Thanksgiving. So the 2 questions I've got for you. 1, do you have the family coming over? 2, is the house clean and ready for the family to come over? If not, it's time to call Zero Res. Get them out today with their patented technology that uses high pH electrolyzed water, not harsh chemicals. No sticky, soapy residue will be left behind. So good, it has its own name, ZR Water. Technology that is incredible. Scientifically proven to get your carpet, rugs, tile, and upholstery insanely clean. If you got the family coming over for Thanksgiving and you want to make the house looking spotless, looking pretty, looking ready to impress your family members like you stay that clean all the time, then I cannot recommend the pros at Zero Res enough. Give them a phone call today and get your cleaning booked before the family shows up next Thursday. 803-262-4020 right now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Again, that's 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can also book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. So you can do it while you're even sitting at your desk today at the office and get Zero Res out to the house to make it spotless before the family arrives next Thursday for a little bit of turkey and a little bit of football. 803-262-4020. Again, 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com. No accidents, no major slowdowns. Your early Monday morning, and weather-wise, looking pretty decent. Looking for a high today of 63 under sunny skies. Sunny tomorrow, 71 up to 75 on Wednesday. Right now, cool though, 38 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. At the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program, they cover more federal employees, retirees, and their families than any other health plan. Now it's time to see what they can do for you. Learn more about healthy benefits at fepblue.org/wecan.
Ramjack Foundation Repair has been repairing foundation problems for homeowners and businesses for over 40 years. Foundation damage is serious and shouldn't be ignored. Considering new floors or home renovations? Did you know foundation settlement can damage new floors, renovations, and even countertops? Remember, your foundation comes first. Protect your investment with Ramjack. Schedule your on-site evaluation today at ramjack.com. That's ramjack.com.
Hi, Scott here with Traditions Fine Jewelers. If you've shopped with us before, then you know you don't need to wait for a sale to get a terrific price on jewelry because we feature low prices every day. But sometimes we do come across absolutely crazy values, and we're happy to pass those savings on to you. Like this week, we found a great deal on 1 and 3 carat total weight diamond inside-outside hoops. Imagine, just $9.99 and $19.99. And they're stunning. So come see us this week and get a great deal on diamond hoops. Only at Traditions Fine Jewelers on Sunset in Lexington, or visit our new Sand Hills location across from the fountain where the Midlands get engaged.
What? What is that? What is that?
It's air. It's definitely air. It's air for sure.
Would someone I don't know, buy it?
You want to sell air?
So, you think you can sell air? Do we have a job for you? Cumulus Media is looking for a great air peddler. We offer full-time positions with great benefits, a fun working environment, and the best air in the industry, on air and online. Visit this station's website for details or cumulusmedia.com/careers.
Hi, welcome to Furniture Depot. And you, come on in. Yes.
Couches are flying off the floor at Cheyenne's Furniture Store.
Sarah, can you go over to dining sets, please?
She needs more sales associates before shoppers take their seats elsewhere.
Can somebody get me a price check on trundle beds?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com.
There we go.
Better now?
Better now.
Yeah. Eric Stevenson takes a lot of three-pointers.
Doesn't make very many.
A lot of three-pointers. I didn't realize he's shooting 8%. I actually didn't realize that was possible. He is 2 of 25. Holy cow.
The best shooter Frank's ever coached.
I did not realize that. That is impressive.
About a minute and a half when you come back.
How much time? A minute? 30 seconds?
Yeah, about a minute and a half.
Are we just going to ignore the horrible officials that were in that game? Yes. Yes, we are.
(803-404-6100). 2 hours still in this program, so you can weigh in. Anonymous texter saying coaches want the players to step up. Coaches need to step up as well. I agree. Some coaching decisions in that game that certainly South Carolina would have liked to have had back. Again, I will say this, and I put this on Twitter after the game. One thing you can't complain with is the job Justin Stepp has done with Josh Vann. Because outside of Josh Vann on Saturday night, South Carolina needed a lot of help. Justin Stepp, the wide receivers coach, certainly has earned his money this year, Patrick, and has developed. I'd like to see what he can do as he continues to maybe bring some guys in. We'll see what happens. Landon Sampson, one of those guys, the wide receiver out of Texas. But you got to give a lot of credit to Justin Stepp and the work done with Josh Vann, who has turned into a playmaker.
Yeah, it's just you need someone to help him out. It's been a couple years now where we've only had basically one receiver doing all of the work. And Josh Vann, as long as he's been healthy this year, has been phenomenal. It's just somebody needs to help him out and make it easier on him.
We'll get into Patrick's trip, let you know a little bit about how the Missouri trip is. We'll also look at the weekend that was in college football. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, was it? That's another thing. Going on the road. Didn't look like an exactly hostile environment there either. So was it snowing Friday night?
No, not where I was. Apparently, but maybe it was earlier. But by the time I landed, it wasn't.
We had some. We had some snow. It was coming. I put something on Twitter where it was like a snow squall, and literally we were driving along, and then just almost whiteout conditions for 3-4 minutes, and it was clear again. It was so bizarre.
No, not at all. One. I hope not. I'm actually gonna ask about that. I'm gonna ask about that right now. I hope not. Dave's out tomorrow too.
Because they didn't know the thing. So we go to do. So we do we went from 11:30 to 12:45 on the pregame show. Dave comes back at noon. So we do the first segment or whatever. However we did it. Dave's like, oh, so we have 57 minutes of commercials this hour. I said, what? I said, so we're supposed to be done at 12:45, but we have 57 minutes of commercials. He went, yeah. I said, what are you gonna do? He goes, I don't know. He just kind of made. So we did 3 breaks. At one point, he comes. I mean, you don't. I've never heard Dave get that frustrated with me. Because at one point, he just comes over and in the most Dave voice, he's like, all right, we got about a minute and a half, and you know how he talks. So he's gonna bring up something about the SEC. You have like 2 seconds to agree, and then we have to go to a break. And so, I mean, I can sense, I know that Keith and I aren't able to communicate. We get text, but it's not like we're talking back and forth. So if Dave's that agitated, Keith's already agitated, it's just about like general. We can go on with Dave at one point. What time will we end it? I have no idea. Like, I've never heard Dave like just flustered, agitated, upset, and mad. Like, I don't completely understand what happened. He said, because we went to sign off. He's like, I'm not answering there too. They figured that. Okay.
So assume Pearson is in for him?
No, he never does that. I hope not. I just asked. Yeah, exactly. It is every once in a blue moon. Doesn't like to. Yeah.
Oh. 3 big breaks this hour. I'll send it to you.
7:03 on a Monday morning. Definitely a Monday morning therapy session for South Carolina fans as a 31-28 Missouri victory takes away from the opportunity of South Carolina to become bowl eligible. Patrick, you were out there, and we'll get to your take. I'm kind of interested. I've not been to Missouri. You mentioned you had to fly into St. Louis. You had to do the drive. You got to experience, I guess, Columbia, Missouri on Friday night. For those of us that have never been to Columbia, Missouri, it's one of 2 places I have not been. I've not been to Fayetteville or to an Arkansas game, and I have not been to Columbia, Missouri. I'm kind of interested on your take on just the trip in general, if it's worth it for South Carolina fans to make it a one-time trip. We'll get to that in just a second. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. If you want to weigh in with something you saw, with certainly a hot take, you can do that. The offensive line has been brought up multiple times, and Kentucky Joe weighs in this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Says we all knew the O-line and D-line was the weakest part position-wise on the team. Not being able to run against one of the worst defensive lines shows us exactly how far South Carolina has to go rebuild-wise. And so, yeah, we got that. So if you want to weigh in on the offensive line, again, the defensive line itself, Patrick, we talked about that. 258 total rushing yards given up Saturday night. 209 of those to Tyler Beatty, who is a very good running back. Let's not act like he came out of nowhere and gouged South Carolina. He was unheard of. This was a kid who is a very, very talented running back, but still, as you mentioned, Tyler Beatty, 34 carries, 209 yards, also had 5 receptions in the game. He had 39 touches for Missouri and was, Mookie Cooper is a good player and made a big play in the game for a touchdown. But Tyler Beatty right now was Missouri's 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E option on offense. And you got to be prepared for that. And South Carolina's defense really not doing the job on Saturday night either, giving up 458 total yards.
Well, he very nearly outgained the entire South Carolina offense. I mean, he 231 yards, I think, total is what I'm adding up. South Carolina total gained 250 yards. I mean, he quadrupled what your ground production was. It was a beatdown. I mean, South Carolina only ran 4 less plays than Missouri and was outgained by almost 200 yards. It was 188 yards, 4 play differential. It was just brutal. I mean, we've seen some of the comments. There was a lot of problems. The tackling was a huge issue, not just tackling Tyler Beatty, tackling Mookie Cooper, getting guys down in the first attempt was a problem all day long. Obviously, the running game, and Jason Brown was mentioned, and as we're watching the replay right here on the TVs in the studio, I mean, that's just what you're seeing. As soon as he was catching the snap, he's out there, he's scrambling. He's rolling immediately out, whether it looks like he takes a couple steps to drop back and then just starts running. And it reminded me of what Perry said. I think you were out a couple weeks ago after the A&M game, where I asked him, there was plays where Zeb Noland that game was running backwards and throwing passes when there wasn't even pressure. And Perry's like, yeah, until you're in that situation, you don't understand how terrifying it is with all these guys bearing down on you. And it just felt like Jason Brown had no confidence that we could block anybody. So he was just reverting to, I'm going to scramble. I'm going to make some space because there's no way that I'm going to have any time to throw the ball. So I'll just get ahead of it and I'll just run away. And, there's that big 4th down with like 8 minutes left or 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter where he rolls and throws it over. I think Nick Muse's head rolling to the left side and he's throwing it across his body. Somebody mentioned stop rolling to the left. You can roll to the right as well. But yeah, when you're trying to throw across your body, it just doesn't work well. And it's what he was doing all day long. You would see him scrambling on pretty much every play, it felt like, and continue to go deeper and deeper. That's why you have 50 yards of sack yardage with three sacks that's just too much. There's nothing you can do when you're losing 20 yards on a sack. You're completely killing a drive.
We'll continue talking about that again. I'll get Patrick's take on just the overall trip to Missouri. It was an interesting weekend of college football. We want to get into that a little bit. South Carolina basketball. that game yesterday. South Carolina rebounds with a 75-64 victory over Western Kentucky to get 2-1 on the season. They will host Alabama Birmingham on Thursday night at Colonial Life Arena. But the story coming out of the weekend, South Carolina's shooting right now is very, very poor. Frank Martin is going to have to find a way or to get this team shooting the basketball better. Eric Stevenson, I didn't realize this. I knew that he was not shooting it well, Patrick. And Eric Stevenson is a guy, though, that he's 2 for 25 right now from 3-point range. He's a leader. He's a vocal leader, and I like that, but he's going to have to figure out a way to get himself in rhythm. The next closest person on the team in terms of 3-point shot attempts is Jermaine Cousinard. He's 7 for 18 on the season. And then you've got James Reese, 6 of 17. But Eric Stevenson right now, 43 total shots on the season. That leads the team. 25 of those are 3-pointer attempts, and he's just 2 of 25 on the season. I like Eric Stevenson as a player. I like him as a leader, but he's going to have to find a way. South Carolina as a team, by the way, 17 of 72 on the season from 3-point range. It's 23.6%. The Gamecocks, over the next week or so, are going to have to improve and start making some of these shots.
I mean, were they good looks? I didn't get to watch either of those games because I was traveling for both of them. But against Upstate, I mean, he was hurling them up, and they were good, clean looks for the most part. And when you lose by 4 points and one guy goes 0 for 10 from 3, it's pretty clear where the issues were. I mean, as a team, you're 4 for 26 from 3 in a 4-point loss. I mean, you just go 20% from 3 in that game,
right,
and you probably win the basketball game. That is brutal to see, and I don't know what to make of that. Like, there is something to be said for some nights you just have off nights, but you can't have 3 in a row. You can't have this long extended. I mean, an off night would be 2 for 10 or what. You can't go 0 for. And nobody was good shooting the 3. I'm just seeing only 5 people even attempted them, and Cousinard was the best at 3 for 8, which, I mean, you can live with that. But what is the issue? And is it just keep shooting? One of these days they'll start falling, and it is what it is. I think Eric Stevenson was actually just cursed by Frank Zhang. He might be the best shooter that I've ever coached. People got their hopes all up, like, all right, we're finally going to have a team that can stretch the floor a little bit. And James Reese had looked good against Upstate, and now nothing's falling. It's just, you just cross your fingers and hope that they start to go in at some point.
What I would encourage him to do, because there's another stat that sticks out. I do think Eric Stevenson has good form, and there has been good looks. But one thing that sticks out to me so far when he has played 82 total minutes is just 8 free throws. Devin Carter has played 58 minutes so far and has attempted 14 free throws. If it's me, and I'm not a college basketball coach, so take it for what it's worth. It means nothing. It's like a cow's opinion. It's just moo. I would encourage Eric Stevenson to attack the basket. Like, get to the foul line, get in rhythm. I always told that Dylan Thompson played for me in AAU, and Dylan Thompson was a really good 3-point shooter, but was hesitant to attack the basket. And I would tell him, he was 15, 16 years old at that time. He actually had an offer from Louisiana Tech at that moment. But I would tell him, if you're off a game, get to the rim some, get fouled, get to the free throw line, where in a game you can at least kind of work on your form. That's the one thing I would probably try to encourage Eric Stevenson to do, because 8 free throws, you look at the amount of minutes. Jermaine Cousinard, by the way, also 79 minutes played so far this year, just 7 free throws attempted. I'd like to see Cousinard get to the line a little bit more often. Wildens Levesque has shot 15 free throws on the season. Devin Carter has shot 14. South Carolina has attempted 53 free throws on the season, 31 of those coming between Carter and Levesque. I like Carter because he's fearless. He goes to the basket. Eric Stevenson, in my opinion, that's another area that he work him into rhythm. Tell him to get into the lane, see if you can get fouled. He's 8 of 8 from the foul line on the season. Get to the foul line.
Well, and he's a bigger dude. I mean, he's 210 pounds.
Big dude,
he should be able to play through the contact and get buckets on those too. There should really be no excuse for not drawing fouls at this point, because Cousinard, same deal. I mean, we're talking about 210, 215-pound guys that should be playing physical and not shying away, and just you shouldn't be planted on the 3-point line when you've got that kind of size and you're that good from the free throw line. Stevenson against Prince was 6 of 6, and that was it. That was all he attempted, and no one else was really even attempting free throws. The whole team only attempted 14 in a 4-point loss. Like that is completely unacceptable. You need to be, especially when the whole talking point about this team was we're going to be more physical this year.
Yeah,
force teams to foul you, force teams to put you on the line, and that just has not happened yet. I don't know how to explain that.
They've got to be a little bit more aggressive. We'll continue to talk about that certainly as we go through the week. Again, Thursday night, South Carolina and University of Alabama, Birmingham at Colonial Life Arena. And as Travis points out on the Buford Lending live stream, South Carolina better be ready to score because UAB can score and score fast. 102, 85, and 98 points in each of their first 3 games for Alabama Birmingham. So we will continue to see that and talk about that as the week goes on. 803-404-6100. We'll talk about Patrick's trip. If you've never been to Missouri, we'll let him talk a little bit about that. Also, we'll get into the weekend that was in regards to college football. And yeah, your Washington football team wins. Cam Newton shows back up and is scoring touchdowns one weekend. There was some stuff in the NFL we'll get to.
The Lions didn't lose.
The Lions didn't lose. Yes, unbelievable there about the Lions. How about that? A tie.
That's not easy. Not easy to be a Detroit fan.
Again, and my son, for some reason, is an Arizona Cardinals football fan. He was about as agitated as any person I've seen late yesterday afternoon. I don't know how he became a Arizona Cardinals fan, but I got a text from him when I was at the grocery store that said he was just so upset he had to go outside. He couldn't continue.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I was like, all right, buddy.
Take a walk.
My response was like, dude, you're a South Carolina fan. If you can handle that, you can handle the Arizona Cardinals, a team you've never been to their game, and you can handle them being thumped by the Panthers.
Quarterback.
So 803-404-6100. We'll get some more of your takes. I see a lot of you weighing in on different topics, and we certainly want to get to all those. It was a busy sports weekend, a fun sports weekend, but certainly for South Carolina fans, a rough one. 31-28, Missouri takes down the Gamecocks in Columbia, Missouri. We'll continue talking about that here. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Been in a lot of pain, been told that surgery is necessary, that you're never going to get out of the pain. You're never going to get your quality of life back without surgery. That's not true at all. Sometimes you just got to look for different methods to get yourself better. And QC Kinetics, a regenerative medicine type specialist, is there for you. If you've been suffering from joint pain, if you've got issues with your muscles, your ligaments, tissue, if you've got inflammation in those areas, don't let this continue to hamper you. Give QC Kinetics a phone call today. 803-281-6860. Let's be honest, walking around, especially as the weather changes and it gets colder, if you've been walking around with issues with ligaments, with tissues, if you're kind of hobbling around, if you're not able to get out and throw the football with the kids or move around and enjoy your quality style of life and you're agitated by it, today, give QC Kinetics a phone call and get a free consultation. 803-281-6860. If you've been told surgery is your only option, there's a better alternative. And why would you not give QC Kinetics a phone call today? No steroids, no opioids. They want to help you get your quality of life back. And that's why you need to give them a phone call, set up that free consultation. If you've been experiencing pain in the muscle and some ligaments and some tissues, you got inflammation, don't deal with it any longer. Get yourself fixed. Be ready for the holidays and for the spring and get that quality of life back. So if you're tired of constant chronic pain, weary from the impact of limited mobility, call QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860. Again, it's regenerative medicine that can help get your quality of life back. You just need to give them a phone call for that free consultation and see how they can help get you back on the road to recovery and get your life back. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
Did you see how the picks went?
I know that once again I did not have a particularly good day.
Well, I know that I had a particularly awesome day. 4-1 with the
With the
lock as well.
Well, Miami's up 8 with 9 minutes to go. It proceeds to blow that one.
I think you got 2 points and I got 6.
I got Michigan.
Yeah, we both got Michigan together.
We both got Baylor.
Both got Baylor.
That's it.
Yeah.
I talked to Brian. Brian's supposed to send me a Brian is supposed to send me we text back and forth yesterday. I said we will be at your place soon eating some kind of pepper-laced pizza as part of the Friday Picks contest. Send me some suggestions of what you can put together. Patrick says we have to eat the first slice with no water, and I'm currently losing. He says I will have it concocted this week.
What was the score before heading into this week?
16-12.
So now it's 22-14.
I've got to go back. One of us has got to go listen today. It's that second week we did it.
Well, it's 20.
And I'm pretty certain I did not get the live. Like I'm 98% certain I didn't.
So it's 22-14.
But yeah. So we'll do that.
So you're gonna have to just start picking the opposite games as me. You're not gonna come back if we pick 3 of the same games anymore.
What's the what we'll probably do? Or I tell you what we may do. I'm trying to think. It might be the best to do it. I'll talk with Brian and we can live stream it and do it after depending on your schedule, do it either. I'd like to do it before, but if we have to do it afterwards, that's fine. Like the Georgetown game, December 5th, because December 4th would be the championship weekend. That'd be the last set of picks and meet down there. I think we play Georgetown at 2:00 and tell Brian we'll meet down there at noon.
December 5th, we play Georgetown?
Yeah.
On a Sunday?
Yeah.
It's going to be busy. Ish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do it. I mean, that'd be meet down there at noon. And then we could do that. And then I don't know if you'd have to do the board for the basketball game. But
no.
But then we could go. Then people could go there and then go over to the basketball game.
What time's he open? Noon?
If he opens at noon on a Sunday, then that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you open at 12:30,
we can go in early. Well, it'd be kind of ideal for us to go in early. He would let people in if they were here for the live stream too.
So that's what I'm saying. We'll kind of shoot for that. I think I'm not supposed to have the kids that day, but Amanda's got some kind of party that Saturday night.
So the SEC championship was that.
Is the 4th.
Are they going to ask about credentials? I would go to the SEC championship again. I enjoyed that.
$7:22 on a Monday morning. Hope you were up and at 'em. Bill Gunner, Patrick Brett, Jen Jensen here. The early game, November the 15th. Unbelievable that we are rolling through the month of November. Just 2 college football Saturdays remaining, and then it's championship Saturday. Patrick was pointing out during the break, I got my rear end handed to me again in our picks contest. Patrick, with how many points did you get this weekend?
6. I went 4-1 and got my lock. My
So
2-pointer.
Patrick getting 6 points. That takes him to 22 points on the weekend. I got 2. 22-14. The early ideas we will all gather at Village Idiot on Sunday, December the 5th. and I'll have to eat a very spicy piece of pizza or 2 pieces. I think Patrick has said without water for the first piece. Maybe do that prior to the Georgetown basketball game, South Carolina, Georgetown, 2:00 on that Sunday, December 5th. But yeah, both of us took South Carolina this week in a pick 'em over Missouri. We were not correct. Both of us took Baylor plus the 5.5, and we both got that one correctly. I took Texas A&M minus the 2.5 on the road at Mississippi. Ole Miss pulls off the victory there, 29-19. Patrick took Georgia. I took Tennessee to cover late, and they did not do that. So Patrick won that one, and then both of us had Michigan minus the 1.5, and that was a pretty entertaining, fun game early on Saturday afternoon. We'll get to that weekend that was. First, let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Ray has got a hot take. Ray, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing a whole lot better than Marcus Satterfield's offense. I have come to realize that man is the epitome of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Missouri lined 8 men up in the box. He tries to run a draw. Missouri's blitzing. He won't throw a screen. I don't know what he's looking at, but I really think he needs to get the dark glasses off and start watching the ball game.
I don't disagree.
Thank you for the phone call, Ray. Yeah, no, I mean that's what Monday morning therapy is here for. It's certainly you look at South Carolina. I think if you just glance at it, you go, 28 points, because you kind of said it, Patrick. You're like, well, if you'd have told me they were going to score 28 points, I think they would have had a chance to win. That doesn't tell the story of Saturday night. 250 yards of total offense, and again, I was probably more agitated that Missouri came out with the game plan of Jason Brown's got to beat us. But South Carolina still had success early on running the football and was able to put themselves in position to maybe go up 14-0. Obviously, that kind of came unglued. They were able to get into the backfield, hit Marshawn Lloyd, and he fumbled, and things kind of go downhill from there. But South Carolina, again, not able to generate much offense and ends up with just 57 yards rushing. Now, the running backs, in fairness, I guess, and let's make sure we give the numbers out here. In fairness, the running backs combined to generate 107 yards rushing. Jason Brown, 4 sacks, negative 50 yards. But that was the problem, was the sacks and the pressure and the huge Missouri made 2 big plays in this game. And it's not the reason that they won, because Tyler Beatty had a big game. Missouri was driving on that very last one. They ended up taking a knee. But obviously there's 2 huge plays in this game that stand out. One, Patrick, you're there in person, getting the field goal unit out onto the field and being able to execute the field goal at the very end of the first half to gain the 3-point advantage going in 17-14 was a big, big play. Yep. And then the other one is, I think the same end zone down there, to be honest. I could be wrong, but with 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's a 3-point game. South Carolina's kind of hanging around. They're able to blitz untouched. 3 guys into the backfield untouched. They hit Jason Brown. He fumbles into the end zone, and Missouri pounces on it, and they go up 24-14. And at that point, I think a lot of people, because of the way the offensive played, felt like 10 points may have well been 100. It was almost hopeless.
Yeah, at that point it was. And I don't know, did we get an explanation on the fumble? I think Jason Brown in his post-game press conference just said, yeah, that's my fault, and did a good job being mature and just taking responsibility if it wasn't his fault. But did we get a clear explanation for what the play was? I mean, the untouched rushers, it just doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, to Ray's point and just the overall theme, I mean, this was honestly probably a game where Kevin Harris shouldn't have been leading the team in carries. This was a game where you needed more Zaquandre. This was a game where you needed to get Juju McDowell involved. Like I've been saying, that you like to have him because he's electric, but also it's tough because he's just so small. He can't push guys forward. You have to almost use him in a gadgety role, but just work things to the outside. Can't be running up the middle with Kevin Harris on every single play. I mean, we thought he looked really good last week, but we even pointed out he's not that fast right now. He doesn't look like he's as fast as he was last year, and it's just running into a brick wall, running into 9 guys with 5 guys that can't block anyone. What are you doing? you're cutting off your nose to spite your face just because you thought that you're better than them and you should be able to run the ball no matter what. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, and there are things that get said. Day weighs in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, and he says when Marcus Satterfield said this past Wednesday that they did not make any changes for the Florida game, players just executed better. That gave me some concern because everyone knows the things they were trying in the first 9 games were not working. Then I saw Samford have 400 yards and 35 offensive points in the first half in the Swamp, and I became even more worried. Then I watched our game, which confirmed that our offense is still really bad and still coached by the same bad coordinator. One other thing, and I don't know if this is a hot take or if people will agree with this. I don't know if Kevin Harris is the best running back on the team. What I do think is right now, Zaquandre White is the most productive. Right? I'm with you on that.
So long now.
I think that he's the most productive. I'm not saying that he's the best. I still think that Kevin Harris is a little dinged up and whatnot. But I think I'm with you. You make a very good point. Right now, there's really no reason that the remainder of the season, Zaquandre White is not the leader in carries every ball game. 10 carries, 60 yards. Touchdown run and catch there. 2 carries, two receptions for 42 yards. Quandre White, 102 total yards on Saturday night. He and Josh Vann are the 2 best offensive players South Carolina have going for them. And to only have 12 touches, you talk about getting the ball to your best offensive players. Tyler Beatty had 39 touches on Saturday night. 39 touches for 231 yards. Zaquandre White had 12 touches for 102 yards. Josh Vann, your other guy, 5 touches for 62 yards. You've got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. People said that Steve Spurrier overutilized Marcus Lattimore, but the bottom line, Patrick, was they won football games because your best player touched the ball consistently.
Well, there really doesn't appear to be any rhyme or reason to it because we've been talking about Zaquandre White as the most dynamic running back in the room because there were a couple games where, like Texas A&M, couldn't do anything in the first half, and Zaquandre White's not touching the football until the third quarter. You come out of the third quarter, come right out of halftime and start feeding him, and he's racking up yards, making guys miss, just being dynamic. And now you get him involved in the first half, and, I mean, I think the first time he touched the ball, I'm looking, was around like the 8-minute mark. You go with Kevin Harris for the first 2 drives, whatever the first drive was, and then Zaquandre White comes out there in the third and gets a couple carries, and then the fumble from Marshawn Lloyd. But just keep him involved the whole time. He's clearly the most dynamic of everyone, and I don't know if there's he's got it in his head that I've got to get everyone this many touches, and Kevin Harris was the leading rusher last year, 1,000-yard rusher, so I got to get him X amount of carries. Or they see something where it's like once Kevin Harris gets over 10 carries, then the defense starts to get worn down, so we'll keep pounding it with him. But none of that's working. Like, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. You have to see who's performing the best. And it's like they didn't figure it out till the end of the game with the last couple drives. Zaquandre Wright's just ripping it, just crushing the Missouri defense, and it was too late by that point to just stick with him because you'd already lost the football game.
And that's also why I don't know if Montario Hardesty deserves some of the blame on that with substitution patterns.
Did Satterfield say we didn't change anything in the run game? I didn't even hear him say that.
Yeah,
because that's just a bold-faced lie, and we all watched against Florida. We saw what was different, and then we saw it not be used again on Saturday. That's why people are frustrated. You can't say we didn't do anything different. We just executed better when we all watched it. We all watched you not put Trey Jones out there.
803-404-6100. Again, I see a lot of you weighing in this morning. Tucker says it was a screenplay when Brown fumbled. I haven't heard him say that. I think we assume it was a screenplay because it looked like all the offensive line just moved. I mean, I don't know if that necessarily means it was a screenplay. It might have been. I have seen them run a few screens. 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
College football playoffs are here.
Sometime, the crew is up against it.
Thanksgiving is next week, and if you're like me, I'm kind of when I say outdoorsy person, all I mean by that is I like to be outdoors and enjoy it. I don't necessarily like to do the whole hunting and stuff. When I say I'm an outdoorsy person, I just prefer to host. I eat food outside or, like be around, watch television. All I did this weekend was set out the television outside in the chairs and had the heaters going. So when I say I'm an outdoorsy person, that's what I mean. Not that I'm out like in the woods doing stuff. You might be the same. You might have a pool in your backyard and you might be an outdoorsy type of person. You like to sit around, host family parties. Maybe Thanksgiving next week, you're going to have a bunch of family members over. And if you've got a pool in your backyard, you realize that's a great place to still host people because of the ambiance. You might have some water fountains in there. You might have it lit up really nice. You might even have a hot tub that you can still use even during the winter. All that means is you need to continue to maintain that pool, not let it get disgusting, not let it look ugly, not let mosquitoes build up in it during the off season, because then not so much fun to like have people over and utilize that space that you've paid for and you've worked hard to maintain during the off season. Use Corley Pool Solutions to keep your pool maintained even during the off season. You can give them a phone call this morning, 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. Tracy Corley and his team with 20 years of experience in the business know how to keep and maintain your pool even during the off season. So again, if you want to sit on your back patio, you got a fire pit back there. Maybe it was beautiful. Maybe it'll be beautiful during the day like it was this weekend, and you want to enjoy that pool by just using it as your view and kind of the ambiance of your backyard, then you need to keep it maintained. 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. And the best part, you got the professional coming right to your house so you don't have to go to the pool store, ask a bunch of questions where the guy at the pool store doesn't understand what's going on because he or she's not looking at it. You got Tracy Corley right there at your house. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions. Good job.
That is very good news.
There you go. So you can go home and rest the remainder of the day and kind of get caught up.
Yep.
Well, good. Yeah, it's good. We got basketball practice at 5. Just Beamer opening statements when we come back. And we'll go to yes, we're doing Doug Daniels next Tuesday. It's up to Joe. I don't know which ones I'll choose.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have just assumed it would be the Bluff Road one. Isn't that their kind of marquee location?
It would make sense, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's one pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I got past 2 in Lexington before I get downtown, and then you got that one. So as long as we're not going to like Sumter or something, I'll be
Yeah. Closest one to me is Elmwood.
So we'll be good. Do that. Yeah, that's a good point, Travis. Whew.
Yeah,
Texas losing to Kansas was no good over the weekend. Texas is going to need some serious.
That's a way to word it. Hoping he's a senior.
Who?
on this text on the live stream.
Wait, what on the live
stream? Yeah, Damon.
I can't remember. I've given up on trying to remember who's a super senior and who's not. I think there's 6 of them that are super seniors, and I think Staley might be a super senior, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know who's a freshman. After that, I don't know what year anybody is. Well, Alan, we got another hour 15 to talk about it.
Well, the good news is we got to get into, because like Travis brought up, we need to discuss the Texas stuff.
Right. So Sam.
Oh, perfect. That's what everyone wants to hear.
Once we're past day one and people get all the frustration out, we get to look more at the weekend as a whole. Wednesday, we start to look forward a little bit.
That's right.
We get to talk about the return of TJ Finley. And then Thursday, Fridays. That's it.
Shane Beamer, following the game Saturday night, a 31-28 loss to Missouri, dropped South Carolina to 5-5 on the season. Again, a golden opportunity missed for South Carolina, as that was a winnable game. And look, Shane Beamer's going to be positive, Patrick. That's going to always be his MO.
More or less. He was pretty.
Well, that's where I was going with that. That's about as I don't want to say negative. Negative's not the right word for that, but that was kind of maybe as honest as I've heard him when he says, yeah, we did some real. He peppered in his usual positivity. It was in there. He said in there, I saw some incredible individual performances. I guess Josh Vann again was very good on Saturday night. Yeah, I guess there was some very good individual performances. He peppered in his usual positive comments, but I also heard a coach there who knows they let one get away from him. And by the way, and somebody pointed it out, South Carolina's just not been a good road team this year. They were blunt. Now Georgia, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Georgia's blowing everybody out, but Tennessee, they didn't look prepared. Texas A&M, the game was over within the first 10 minutes. Quite frankly, East Carolina, they looked awful in the first half. I know they win the ball game. And then this past Saturday, they came out ready. They had a chance. They're staring what were they on the 15 to 12. They're down there inside the 20 with a chance to go up 14-0 early on, and the offensive line falls apart. And look, Missouri ended up building a 17-point lead. South Carolina's been poor on the road, but you did get both kind of the positive and the negative there from Shane Beamer in his opening statement.
And if you watched the video, it was also pretty funny because he's already upset, already mad, and then I don't know what was going on with the microphones or something, but it started just loudly beeping in his ear, and he's just rubbing his face, ready to pound the table. Did you watch the video?
I haven't seen it. I just listened.
It's pretty funny because you could, every time they would try to transition to someone asking a question, it would just start, the feedback or something would be ridiculous. It'd be sound like something like when we have both our computers next to each other trying to do the live stream. It was pretty funny, but that was probably the most angry I've seen him. Probably because it was so cold in Missouri. You needed that win. You got a long ride home. It's just, you were just ready to get out of there, and yeah, you really needed that win.
803-404-6100. Speaking of being positive, let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry, how are you feeling this morning, young man? Hopefully you're doing well.
I'm feeling okay, but I'm disappointed. I've seen I've seen some bad times and good times, but I don't think I've ever seen play calling the way I've seen Saturday night. Why in the world are you going to mess around down there on your own goal line and try that screenplay or whatever they call it? Give them a touchdown. And then Marshawn Lloyd, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call him out. But fumble. We was out driving, go ahead at least 10-0, possibly 14-0. But that's 10 points. We'd have won that game. But like I say, I ain't criticizing nobody. I'm going to have to say we got to win one of these games at home. We should win one of these games at home. But I'm going to say we're going to put it together, and we're going to win both of these games at home. But another thing, that Florida win, Florida showed up this weekend. It shows that we wasn't as good as we thought we were when they give that Stanford team of 50-something points. And wasn't that this guy taking Bo Nix's place? Is that the same guy that was it LSU that played last year?
That's right.
Us? Is that right?
That's him.
Well, look, Marcus, not Marcus, whatever the defensive coordinator, I don't forget his name.
Mike White.
That's all right.
Yeah.
He just pulled that film out from last year's game, and it's just showing. And I guarantee you, Gamecock fans, even though we're upset, disappointed, want to criticize, don't do it. We going to show that young man last week what a fighting Gamecock is. That's about all we got to say. And I hope Patrick enjoyed his trip to Missouri. I was out there a long time, good at Fort Lost in the Woods, but it's been a while since when I was out there. But I hope you enjoyed it. I got a Root Hall call this morning, and I went to get the phone, and he hung up. I called him right back. I got a voicemail box, hadn't been set up yet. Root Hog won't talk to me. I'm going to call Clemson Sean, see if he'll talk to me. But that's about all I got to say, Gamecock Nation. Disappointed? Yes. But we going to be all right. Go Gamecocks.
Thank you for the phone call. And yes, you saw Clemson Sean out there in Missouri. You two were able to, or did you talk to him, or did you see him streaking around?
I didn't even see him streaking around. He found me while he was streaking around, carrying around a little bottle of gin, and was forcing it down people's throats. Just wreaking havoc.
Being
the streets of Columbia. Yeah.
I could see that. 803-40.
My sister.
Yeah,
my sister. She's terrified.
803-404-6100. Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Another Larry, not Gamecock Larry, I don't think, but he says we still have two goals. Number one, bowl game. Get to a bowl. 2, beat Clemson. And then Larry, different Larry, not Gamecock Larry, on the Cool Care Heating Air text line says, I love Dakereon Joyner as a team player, but his production is not starter level. This is where I would put Juju McDowell in the slot. I think we are just a team that plays better at home. We'll continue to discuss that. Again, we need to get into Patrick's take on the trip to Columbia, Missouri. I've never been, so we can hear just what he thought about the actual road trip aside from the game portion. And we'll get into the weekend that was. Woof, man, you think you're not happy to be a South Carolina fan? I don't ever like saying it could be worse. You could be that fan base, but you could be Texas right now. Like, you could be a Texas fan right now, and $34 million to Steve Sarkisian to be beaten by Kansas. Oh, boy. We'll talk about the weekend that was, because there was a lot of other games as well. Oklahoma goes down. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Yep. Yeah, it could have been. Patrick, you was cold out there, right? You were on those bleachers, probably uncomfortable, maybe hurt your back a little bit.
Frigid.
Got some issues, some back issues. Maybe you're feeling maybe you played a little bit of golf this weekend. We talked to Dr. Grabowski last week how golf can be very poor for your back health. That means it's time to call Casey Chiropractic Center. The doctors Pate and Roman Cooper, the brothers out there, they are ready to get you back up and moving around. If you've been experiencing some back issues lately, some issues with your shoulders, with your neck, you got some tingling in your arms, the doctors at Casey Chiropractic are dedicated to helping you and your loved ones get out of pain and stay healthy so you can focus on enjoying your life. And that does mean actually probably still going to football games and sitting on those cold bleachers and watching your team play. Hopefully your team's winning. That does make your back feel a little bit better. But if not, call Casey Chiropractic today. Try the non-surgical approach to fix any issues you've had. 803-796-2424. That would have been the number I would have thought of South Carolina. I thought if South Carolina scored 24 on Saturday night, they had a good chance to win. That's how I remember their phone number, 2424. It always is the number I think that if South Carolina will just score that, they got a chance. Turns out that wasn't the case on Saturday night. Right now, research proving spinal decompression has excellent long-term effectiveness, even 4 years later. So if you've been experiencing some pain, again, in your back, in your shoulders, you got some tingling going on, Casey Chiropractic is there to help you. Dr. Pate and Dr. Roman Cooper have 40 years combined of experience in the chiropractic profession, and they know exactly what to do. They offer reasonable upfront pricing, no gimmicks or hidden fees, and do not engage in high-pressure sales or scare tactics. They're simply there to help you get your quality of life back. Give Dr. Pate and Dr. Roman Cooper a phone call today and get that appointment set up. 803-796-2424. All right. Yeah, but RL, you can still talk about the you can always point back to, as a South Carolina fan, back-to-back baseball championships.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, but it is championship. And also, if you got to think back to those 2005 Nats, do you think what could have been, what Mac could have done?
I think Will should have just stayed, waited it out.
That's true. All right. We've gotten
900 subscribers.
We're at 900?
That's what Hope said.
Oh.
Gotta say, Hope, you are so negative on Twitter. Well, actually, like positive, very positive sometimes, and then just very negative. Let me go back and see. There was like a couple that I saw when I was eating breakfast, and it was like something about weather's cold. Yep, advantage Missouri. Yep, we're done. I would see random tweets like, "That's the game. We lost." Like, come on, Hope. Over. She just tweets over.
This coming Friday, you can get out to Savage Craft Ale Works, 430 Center Street in West Columbia, and visit with our own Heath Klein, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Again, there'll be free appetizers from 4 to 5 p.m. You can also register to win a $250 gift card to Garnet and Black Traditions, all thanks to T-Mobile, as T-Mobile and 107.5 The Game team up to give you a chance to enjoy a Friday and win a $250 gift card to Garnet and Black Traditions. Again, you can go visit Heath Klein, Savage Craft and Ale Works, 430 Center Street in West Columbia, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. this Friday. Free appetizers from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and your opportunity to win a $250 gift card to Garnet and Black Traditions. Heath Klein this coming Friday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. over at Savage Craft Ale Works. Anonymous texter weighs in and says, coming into the year, the defensive line was supposed to be our strength. They couldn't tackle me. I think he meant him, not me. I'm easy to tackle. He says, anonymous texter adds, we knew the running back was going to get the ball and the D-line was pushed around. Disappointing to see such a lackluster effort. And yet, Patrick, we'll talk more about it in hour number 3. Get your thoughts on your trip. But offensive line was not good Saturday night, but the defensive line deserves some blame too. 458 total yards, 209 rushing yards by Tyler Beatty.
It's the SEC. If you can't win the trenches, you're not going to win very many games. That's what every coach always says. And South Carolina was thoroughly dominated on both trenches, and you saw what happened.
We will do a whole nother hour. Keep listening. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I kind of need to go back and watch it because when you're there, you're just kind of watching the play. I don't pay much attention to trends or everything going on. I'm just full on fan mode when you're at the game. Clemson Sean has showed up on the text line. Mississippi State did it. They're not that good. Kansas beat Texas. Proves anything can happen. We have a good kicker. They don't have their starting quarterback. Revenge game for the players against their assistant coaches. That's 5. Former assistant coaches. Before the record, I don't think it's going to happen. It wasn't good.
I was not impressed. we stopped. I mean, it was.
Stop watching it.
Like 8:20, and it had 45 minutes to go. And we're all done. For people who didn't really know, we went up on his own. So I bought him a new mattress because the mattress he had was good. I had since I was a child, and so it hit squeak. It was 20 years old, and so we bought him a new mattress 2 weeks ago. He loved it, and they wanted this. We went cold yesterday, and I spent $125 on pillows. Like Austin bought kind of a square. Actually, it's a very fluffy, but like kind of square pillow, and then I bought him another pillow. So it's very comfy. And then Anson wanted a body pillow and a candle. But they feel comfortable, which is really all I want. You get like, but you get the coupons and stuff, right? Yeah, I got like $10 starting Friday. 19, because I just bought. I had 30% off. Like, oh, I need some new blankets for the guest room. If you do Kohl's right, you got to remember to use that cash and you go back and get this thing. You can, you might spend $100 this time. If you go back, you can clean up on. Yep, it's working. I actually like that. Me too. Well, happy Monday morning to you. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. Starting your week off, hopefully, right? Just think, this time next week, it will be Thanksgiving week. Like, I mean, it really is. It's crazy to believe that we're almost here next week because we really get in, Patrick. College basketball really ramping up. South Carolina, the women's team goes out to South Dakota on Friday night. They won. thank you, Dawn Staley and team, for
Keep giving us hope to still take another day.
yes. The women's team goes and wins Friday night. Thank you. The men's team goes to Asheville. They lose on Friday night to Princeton 66-62. They bounce back and win yesterday. And we really, though, start to get into college basketball season in full here. Is what is it next week, Patrick? I think is really when we start to get all the kind of the Maui Invitational, and which I believe is being played in Las Vegas this year. I think they're doing one more year, not in Maui because of COVID stuff. But
So they still call it the Maui Invitation?
yeah, I mean, last year they were in. I don't mind it. I mean, there is a certain. I've grown up watching the Maui Invitational during Thanksgiving weeks. They ESPN does Feast Week
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But
I thought maybe they'd call it the Maui-ish or something.
yeah. This year in Vegas, but I think next year or next week we also start like the battle for Atlantis, which is a really good tournament, and so a bunch of stuff next week. A week from today, we'll be into Thanksgiving. You got to start thinking about like yesterday I went to Publix and I saw two ladies fighting over a turkey. It was good to see. Yeah,
But that was fun. Did you film it?
I did not. I sidestepped around it.
Is there a turkey shortage?
I think it
there's
just
an
gets
everything shortage.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think there's a bunch of turkeys
I saw
out
they're
on
really
a cargo
expensive
ship
now.
out in Los Angeles or San Francisco or somewhere. Just they're all stored properly, I guess. I
I'm
don't.
gonna start growing turkeys. We'll get kicked out of the neighborhood because can't do that. But
Mm-hmm,
it's all right.
Ready for your dad? Ready for your dad joke of the morning? What do you call people that take care of chickens? This is an easy one. This is what I do with my kids. What do you call people that take care of chickens? Chicken tenders.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
a
don't
good
even
joke.
think I had. Oh wait, hold on.
We have a rim shot.
Hold on, one more time.
Chicken tenders. There you go. Welcome in.
We're well
Welcome.
organized.
Welcome into your Monday morning. Hopefully that puts you in a better mood. Go around just telling everybody that in your office this morning, and that'll at least change the topic.
Just
from
that Thanksgiving is next week. You got a full week this week. It's
Yeah.
gonna stink. It's gonna be a bad week, but
And you can start putting up Christmas decorations. Have you guys noticed that there's a lot of people? I mean, I understand commercially, but there's a lot of houses that I'm driving past. Christmas trees are up, outdoor lights are. It seems especially. I don't have a problem with it, but it just seems like it's especially early. And now I'm stressed. Like, oh my gosh, I'm behind.
I do feel like yesterday we were talking about it off air. I was in Kohl's yesterday and I saw all the Christmas stuff, and I felt the need to start buying stuff, just whether it was hand towels for the kitchen or you like little trinkets for around the house, little Santas or whatever. I held off. I did not. We did buy a Christmas. My daughter bought some kind of Christmas candle type thing, and the whole house smelled great. It was fantastic. But yeah, at the end of the day, it does feel like that. As I was leaving to head down there this morning, I happened to drive by one of the houses in the little community I'm at, and I saw they had the inflatable Santa on the raft.
Oh wow.
Up already. And so yeah, I'm with you on that. I was already starting to plot and plan for the Christmas tree next week. But that's coming. We'll get you through. Again, we will discuss South Carolina, Missouri here for this hour. We'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow, and then we'll transition South Carolina, Auburn this coming Saturday, Williams-Brice Stadium, Saturday night. If you haven't heard the news, Bo Nix probably out for the remainder of the regular season. Will have ankle surgery today, I believe, is it expected. TJ Finley will get the start. Patrick, they opened the line last night. Auburn was a 10-point favorite, and then the Bo Nix news came out. Auburn now is a 6.5-point favorite Saturday night. That's a 6-4 team, and we'll get into it here as we kind of go through this hour. It was a pretty fun weekend. I don't know how much you got to experience out there in Columbia, Missouri. What was the setting like? Like everybody, again, Columbia, Missouri is not a place I've been to.
yeah.
You flew into St. Louis. You didn't have the chance to maybe catch I guess you definitely didn't have the chance to catch a Cardinals game. I don't know if there was a hockey game.
I know I didn't get to even be in St. Louis at all.
Okay.
The airport's, I think, 15, 20 minutes from St. Louis. I don't know, Jen, I didn't see the arch. I was bummed that I didn't see the arch at all.
Yeah. No, it's a little bit out.
Yeah, you can't see it from the airport. So no, we got there. We landed 7:00, I think, and then drove the 2 hours into Columbia and got right to the hotel, just dropped our bags off and walked to the Hooters right next door just because it was at our hotel, basically at our hotel. And that was all we did Friday night. Watch a little USA Mexico. USA beat Mexico 2-0 in World Cup qualifying, first place in their group. Looks like they're on track to go to the World Cup, which is really cool. Yeah, and then Saturday was all about the game. We just took an Uber right down to a tailgate spot that my sister's boyfriend is from Missouri, has a bunch of Missouri friends, and they had a nice little tailgate set up. It was actually a really prime time spot, less than 100 yards from the stadium. Really nice. So their setup is, I guess, cool because it's just one little road that has baseball stadium to the left, football stadium to the right up at the top of the hill is the basketball arena, and then across the street is their, it looks like almost like our Coliseum, a massive building that used to be the basketball arena. So all of their stadiums are right there, but it's just all concrete. There's no like grass or cool anything. It's just kind of a ugly concrete scene that's just a street with all the stadiums right there. So they started setting up all the cones and everything for the Tiger Walk, and you look at the setting going down the hill, and it was a little bit overcast at the time, and I was just like, if I'm a recruit and I come here and I watch South Carolina do the Gamecock Walk through. Gamecock Park is just beautiful right now with the facility in the background and the other ways, the stadium, just the band there, all the whole scene at Gamecock Park is just gorgeous now. And like the Grove, I was watching game day and you see the team walking through the whole Grove, and you just compare that to just walking down a concrete hill with like patchy concrete and things like that. I was like, I don't know how a recruit can come to Missouri. It's got to be a hard school to recruit. But yeah, and then the stadium was like, it was cool. It was big enough. It was cool, but not a solid crowd, and it was cold. And I think Missouri fans have kind of mailed it on this season as well. But they were nice people, very friendly. When we were walking around, multiple people welcomed us into our tents, gave us free drinks and food and everything. So I was very happy with the hospitality that the Missouri fans presented. But I just didn't think there was anything special about the town itself. I mean,
nice stadium.
I mean, the stadium was nice. There was just no one in it. They sell alcohol at Missouri games too, if you were concerned about that. I had a good, I guess the roast beef sandwich is a popular thing there. I had a decent roast beef sandwich. So no complaints. It was very, very cold. And that was the biggest thing. It was 34 degrees without the sun for probably 2 hours. I don't think it came out until like 11:30, and we were down there around 9. So very, very cold. But everyone, I think if you live there, you're prepared for it, because every tent I went into had a big space heater sitting there. So that was actually very helpful. They could tell how cold we are and invited us to stand by the heaters.
803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning if you want to weigh in. Obviously, South Carolina missing the opportunity there to get bowl eligible, be 6-4 this weekend. A lot of people have weighed in this morning, offensive line, defensive line, and everything that kind of comes along with that. You're more than welcome as I try to get to all those. If you want to weigh in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines as well, you can join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Hope, Craig, York, Aura, all weighing in this morning. Craig says, would you trade losing to Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee for beating Auburn and Florida with a chance to beat Clemson in the final game? Don't think it happens, and that's a good point. Like, it's still out there. We'll see what exactly happens here as we move through the next few weeks. 2 more regular season games. If South Carolina can win one, they become bowl eligible. Might not necessarily be the destination people want, Patrick, but it would probably either be Birmingham or Tampa for the Gasparilla Bowl. The Gasparilla Bowl is December 23rd. Birmingham, I think, is the week after. Neither opponent looks that attractive. I think last week, prior to being bowl eligible, or at least being in the bowl predictions, one of the opponents was like Texas San Antonio. Another one was like Houston. Not exactly the opponents that I think you want to face. But the bottom line, South Carolina still has that opportunity. We'll talk more about that as South Carolina gets ready for Auburn this coming Saturday night. But again, a lot of the focus on this past weekend, and it was a really, in my opinion, entertaining Saturday of college football, Patrick. Across the board. I know you said you didn't get to watch a lot, but we opened with that Michigan-Penn State noon game. You had the couple of really good noon games going on. Michigan-Penn State. Michigan wins that one 21-17, and Ohio State blowing out Purdue. Michigan State running over Maryland. Those 3 teams now heading for the final 2 weeks of the regular season, and then whoever can advance to the Big Ten championship. That'll probably be the discussion tomorrow night. Now with Oklahoma completely removing themselves from the college football playoff discussion, how those 3 teams are ranked along with Cincinnati.
Well, there's no reason for the ranking to change at this point, right? You think in the college football playoffs mind, it'll still be Ohio State 4, clearly, because they beat a ranked team that that's already got an upstate over Michigan State. And then Michigan beat Penn State. And if the committee thinks that Michigan's the better team, then they'll just leave them right where they are. So I assume that all three of them will still be, it'll honestly probably still be 4, 6, and 7. I don't see any other reason for really the top 7 to change. We'll have a new number 8 because Oklahoma lost, but I don't think there's any reason for anything else to be adjusted at this point.
What'll be interesting is to see what the committee does with Cincinnati. Yesterday, the AP poll coming out, the AP top 25 coming out, and what you ended up getting was Cincinnati moving to number 3, Alabama moving ahead of Cincinnati in the AP top 25. Alabama, why wouldn't they move ahead of Cincinnati after blowing out New Mexico State 59-3?
They covered the 51.
They did, and they also gave up 3 right off the bat. There was a time on Saturday at noon where Alabama was losing 3-0, Florida was losing 7-0 to Samford, and Clemson was losing 7-0 to Connecticut. You knew it wasn't going to last.
Yeah.
But there was about a 12-minute window when it was all wildly entertaining there. The other noon game, again, that drew the most attention, Oklahoma on the road at Baylor, and the worst offensive performance under Lincoln Riley to date. Oklahoma goes in and loses 27-14. That was a game both of us picked. I'd been saying for weeks I thought that Baylor had a great chance to pull off the upset. Oklahoma, we talked about South Carolina's lack of offense, Patrick. Oklahoma just 260 total yards of offense, 182 through the air, 78 on the ground. Baylor racking up 413 total yards, including 296 yards rushing against the Oklahoma defense, 47 carries, 296 yards, a 6.3 yard per average. There goes Oklahoma. We thought something was wrong with Oklahoma for a few weeks now.
Yeah, I was worried that Oklahoma was just going to end up winning out and just squeaking by in every game and just not being dominant. We'd all fully acknowledge that they're not a very good team this year, but they'd still go undefeated, so you had to just put them in the playoff, and they'd have to jump Cincinnati because they are a Power 5 team. But alas, they finally got beaten, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think they've still got Oklahoma State and and Iowa State, I think, to finish the season, so I wouldn't be surprised if they drop another one. I don't know what the problem is there. I mean, you have the number 1 quarterback in the country, and Caleb Williams goes 10 for 19, 2 picks, and 146 yards. That's a brutal performance, but I don't think he has been the problem. He kind of energized that roster the last couple of weeks, but what is the problem in Oklahoma, and what is the fix? I don't know, especially with all these rumors swirling about Lincoln Riley and LSU being interested. And does he feel like I'd have a better chance because I can at least get a national championship contending roster because whatever it is at Oklahoma is not working defensively or the offensive lines, or I don't know what the deal is because they pump out pros pretty much all over the place. But whenever it is time to come play the big boys from the SEC or even the Big Ten, it gets ugly, and I don't know what the fix is. He seems to have that program on great footing, but just they're only competitive in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah, Oregon, again, number 3 in the country. Oregon knocks off Washington State 38-24. So you're right, Patrick. They'll probably hang around 3. Ohio State. One thing on Ohio State, giving up 390 passing yards to Purdue. Aiden O'Connell, a very good quarterback for Purdue, but a 59-31 victory. One other team that I'm just fascinated to see what happens with because of ego. They don't deserve to be in the top 4. Notre Dame goes into Virginia. Virginia did not have their quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, and Notre Dame wins 28-3. They were a 5.5-point favorite. Notre Dame has 2 weeks left here, just like everybody else, and they've got Georgia Tech, who they should win at home, or they should beat at home, and they're on the road at Stanford. Stanford, you never know. Stanford can maybe jump up and bite them. Notre Dame's 9-1. And they're probably going to get left out of the college football playoff. And they should be. Oh, yeah. They should be. Okay. It's not. But again, I'll say it. I do wonder, though, with Notre Dame, I mentioned this last week, and their ego and what they think of themselves going 11-1. And if your lone loss is to Cincinnati, which is not a bad loss. It's not a bad loss. Like, they don't have a great win. They don't have a good win. Let's be clear about that. But what does Notre Dame think of themselves? Does that change how they view conference alignment, how they view the college football playoff? What does Notre Dame take away from being potentially 11-1 and not getting into the college football playoff? Because I feel like Notre Dame is got the kind of ego that's like, look, we're Notre Dame. We're 11-1. That's our lone loss. We should be in.
No, well, they stink. I mean, they don't. If they somehow jump Cincinnati, I will leave.
Well, no,
the
they
rise.
shouldn't. They shouldn't jump.
But would you be absolutely shocked if they did? If Cincinnati slugs their way through and wins the championship by 4 points, and they're 13-0, but they've really like coasted through the last couple of weeks and not blown anybody out?
Well, here's where I'm going with this. It looks like I think Georgia's in.
Yeah.
Okay. Georgia's in. Georgia should not fall apart to Charleston Southern or Georgia Tech in the next 2 weeks. All right. Georgia's, and then I would
somebody
assume,
from the Big Ten.
and then I would assume even if unless Georgia just got annihilated in the SEC championship, even if Georgia loses, they're in.
Yeah.
Might be the 4th seed. So Georgia's in. I don't see Ohio. I think Ohio State's playing as good offensively. They figured
We'll
things
just
out
save
there.
that spot for whoever wins the Big Ten.
Well, but right now I'm going to go Ohio State. And here's why.
Agreed.
I feel like Oregon is due for a slip up somewhere. Like they're the next Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I feel like they're due to fall out of this thing and then open the door for either a 2-loss Alabama, if that were to happen. Cincinnati could get in. Maybe a second Big Ten team could get in. Or is this where Notre Dame comes out of nowhere and finds themselves in at 4?
Possibly. But the Oregon thing, the Message Board Geniuses Twitter page was giving me a lot of entertainment when I was in the car and just sitting at the airport. And I saw a Utah fan tweet something like, or put something on the message board like, it's a strange spot that we're in because realistically, I think it'd be best for us if Oregon just beats us and then they go to the college football playoff and we can have the Rose Bowl. But I know what's going to happen. We're going to beat Oregon next week, and then Oregon's going to beat us in the Pac-12 championship, and then they're going to play in the Rose Bowl, and we're going to get the Sun Bowl. And it's going to be like, oh, we got a good win, and what do we get for it? Another Sun Bowl. Like, just miserable. So I do feel like Oregon's not that good. I don't think anybody believes Oregon's that good. They could totally slip up. They could lose the Pac-12 championship. It could be anything. And I would probably rather see Cincinnati in the playoff than Oregon just because I've not been impressed by them. I don't know what Ohio State did at noon and at home.
They just put it
week
together.
3 or whatever.
Oregon
it
put it
was,
together that week. They put it together. They looked great
without their best player. Arguably, their 2 best players. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean that week they just put it together. Oregon has Utah this coming week. You just mentioned it at Utah, and then Oregon State to wrap up the regular season there in their rivalry game. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this afternoon. This morning, I'm sorry. It is still morning here in Columbia, South Carolina. John weighs in. Bill, did you get your lock pick of the week? No, I had Miami -2.5. I had the Hurricanes -2.5. They were up 28-20 on Florida State with about 9 minutes to go and absolutely blew that game. They lose 31-28. John asked, Patrick, did you get your lock pick of the week? Yes, Patrick had the under
10 points.
48.5 on Michigan, Penn State. Patrick with a strong week, John. He did very, very well. Patrick is up big here, 22 points to 14 in our picks contest. So we've been in touch with Brian Glenn.
Everything but the South Carolina game this week.
Yeah. South Carolina letting Patrick down from a perfect 5-0 week, plus his lock would have been 6-0. So blame the Gamecocks for that one as well. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to Mustin, who is on the phone line, was out in Missouri. Mustin, how you doing this afternoon? What's on your mind?
I am doing great, guys. I don't know, South Carolina football for 100 years. I guess we've had, 10, maybe 12 good seasons out of all that. So as a Gamecock, I'm learning how to be I don't know the exact word for it. I mean, I don't let myself get psyched up as like I used to when I was younger. But, I go to a place like Missouri, like I was this past weekend. You look at their facilities, just like you talk about the band. We were parked right there where the band was going through this little concrete area. I mean, you look at their stadiums half full. You look at how our fans get into the game, like the fourth quarter, when it starts, the scoreboard, the way all the fans are into it with the towels flying. I've been to the Grove at Mississippi. I've been to every stadium. The Grove to me is the most overrated thing ever, where, everybody parks tents next to each other. To try to find somebody's tent, you got to walk through everybody's tent. And they think that's the coolest thing. And I'm like, really? I've been to so many places. We've got such great things. And yet, we cannot win football games. You try to figure out, okay, what's going on? Is it politics because we're in the state of, we're in the capital? Is it what it is. Now, having said all that, I'm behind Beamer. I'm not giving up on him. I think he can get the thing done for us. I'm willing to give him, 2-3 years. I'm not one of those guys, hey, let's give him another 6 years. No, I'm getting too damn old for that. Okay. I need progress, but, just watching the product on Saturday at the game and the way, you like this thing giving up so much yardage running, and we come out throwing a ball, and I don't know, it's just frustrating. It's like this Saturday, I'll be at the ball game, and the fans will be back in it at the kickoff and waving their towels all over the place, and the atmosphere, and it's just frustrating. It's just like freaking 100 something years, and we've had like 12 good seasons, while smaller colleges within they'll hire a coach within 2-3 years, all of a sudden they're kicking butt, and we can't do it. So I don't know. Monday morning, I think I'm still kind of hungover from the weekend, so I apologize for not being more positive.
No, it's perfectly okay, Mustin. That's why we do Monday morning therapy. Thank you for the phone call. You're allowed to get it out. You're allowed to.
Oh, especially when you made the trip.
Yeah.
You feel like you were robbed. It's 2 years in a row you've lost to Missouri, and you felt like you had the better team both times. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz basically admitted that we were the better team last year when they came in and beat us, and you could write it off. He had an interim head coach and whatnot, but
I don't know if you feel like you had the better team. I feel like you had the chance to win, and it feels it's kind of like the Kentucky team.
I felt like Missouri was awful this year, and I still feel like they're not a good team.
Yeah, they're not. But again, I don't know if South Carolina is very good either. I think it's more of just you feel like you had a great chance to win, and you let one get away. Weird stat that I pointed out on the pregame show with Heath Klein on Saturday. South Carolina, last 4 times they've been to Kentucky, last 4 times they've been to Missouri, 2015, 2017, 2019, and this year. Okay. Last 4 times, the quarterback for South Carolina in 3 of those games has been making his first ever road start. Lorenzo Nunez in 2015, Ryan Helinski. 2015 was Helinski. Jake Bentley was 17. That was not his first true road start. 2019 was Ryan Helinski, his first road start, and then obviously Saturday night. Just a weird place where apparently South Carolina quarterbacks are supposed to go out and make their first true road start. Very odd statistic there. But we'll continue to talk about that. We'll get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. I see you weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, I just tried to look. There's no way they're putting a spread on this game. Georgia, Charleston Southern. It would be like 60. Someone out there has got to put a spread on this thing, right? Nope, really nobody. No, it's not there. I mean, even DraftKings doesn't have it. I was gonna see if there's any like random obscure book, but no, it's off the lot. It's off the books in every single.
Oh. I did not watch enough of this Packers Seahawks game yesterday.
I tried to. I watched as much as I could at the airport Chili's.
So y'all rented a car?
Now we got a ride. Hope he survives. I mean, Georgia, I just wouldn't play. I would not play Jordan Davis at all. Probably wouldn't play Nakobe Dean. I definitely wouldn't play Jordan Davis because they're just going to cut block him. There's the whole offensive line together couldn't block him.
Oh, that's right. I got you. Yeah, good point. Good point. Not sure what people would be more angry about, giving up 209 yards to Tyler Beatty, the offense, or Eric Stevenson being 2 of 25 for 300. I feel like Eric Stevenson would be getting a lot more attention today
We won.
if it wasn't for football. Wednesday, December 8th, Colonial Life Arena, the place to be. Trans-Siberian Orchestra back in town. A portion of all tickets sold. The proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Tickets are on sale now. Again, right now, Wednesday, December 8th, you can go and check out Trans-Siberian Orchestra at Colonial Life Arena. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Tickets on sale now. Again, I think I'll actually be attending that this year, checking out Trans-Siberian Orchestra on December 8th. Might be worth going and checking out.
I think so.
803-404-6100. Back out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines we go. Ernest is up next. Ernest, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Morning, guys. I don't call in a lot, so I got a couple of points I want to make here. For one, I'm just going to say the offensive line. Understandably so, you got to have technique. But what I see for the offensive line, they don't have any will and they don't have any want to. They're just plain and blank. So I know if I break in their apartment, I can get anything I want because they're going to let me. I'm being facetious there, but point two, I do see some greenness on this coaching staff. It could be expected because they're young, but I didn't know JoJo White was still playing, and he absolutely went to Missouri from Kentucky. This guy got the ball 39 times. Everybody in the stands, everybody in my house knew the ball was going to this guy. What kind of defense were we in? I couldn't understand. Maybe you can help me on that.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call, Ernest. I mean, JoJo Kemp. It took me a minute to figure out who JoJo White was. JoJo Kemp is the Kentucky running back that South Carolina allowed back in 2014 to run wild in that game. Look, again, Patrick, we've kind of discussed it. South Carolina's offense puts up 250 total yards. That's not acceptable. South Carolina's offense needed to be, the offensive line in particular, needed to be a lot better. It's hard for me to say, and I'm not trying to defend Marcus Satterfield. I'm just also going to say that when your offensive line is basically giving your quarterback zero time to stand back and throw the football, it's hard to say what exactly the play calling would be. The easiest thing in the world is for all of us to say, yeah, they should have done this or should have done that differently. I do agree. I complained on Twitter on Saturday night. I wanted to see more Trey Jones at fullback. I do agree that when they're blitzing or rushing right up the middle, you try and put the ball out on the perimeter, whether it's swing passes or plays to Josh Van just out wide. But with all that being said, Patrick, the defense has to have some accountability as well on Saturday night. 458 yards, 209 rushing by Tyler Beatty, especially late in the game. South Carolina, for as bad as they played, as bad as the offense was, 4:30 to go in the game, Missouri's getting the ball back, only up 3. You knew Tyler Beatty was going to get it to try and run the clock out.
Yeah, and so I want to know, of all these yards, I don't know if we've seen the stat, but how many were after contact? Because maybe you put A&M there because it was really bad against A&M, but this was probably the worst tackling performance of the year. And I think we've talked about it throughout the season that, there's missed tackles in every game, but by and large, the tackling has not been the biggest issue this year, and it's been worse in years past. And they've for the most part, been doing a pretty good job wrapping guys up and swarming to the ball, but for whatever reason, something this week was it was not happening. I don't know how many broken tackles Tyler Beatty had, but it was a boatload. And maybe it was just glaring because there were a couple really big plays where, this guy's running through the entire defense, but you just gotta do a better job tackling. Maybe it's the cold. Maybe it's because it does get harder to wrap up in the cold and guys, you just bounce off guys, but that was, it was unacceptable to say the least, and that's not what you expected from the defense. It wasn't just the linebackers, it wasn't the secondary. You were missing guys at the first level, and it was just, it was brutal. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, and RL points out on the live stream that was a strange thing as well. Missouri, I don't know if Connor Bazelak was injured. I'm not sure what happened on the final drive and why they pulled him out of the game. Now, he had thrown the really bad interception. Maybe that had something. Maybe something had. I did not even think to listen to the Eli Drinkowitz post-game press conference if he was asked
if there was
about
any
that.
thought in their mind of, hey, we'll have the opportunity to just pull it with the quarterback, it wasn't going to be Bazelak. He couldn't
True.
move.
Yeah, he's not the runner of the group, but certainly.
Well, and he was hurt too. So
but I mean, even then, he's again. I think he had negative 22 yards.
Yeah, he can't run
rushing on the season. He wasn't going to be the guy, but certainly there at the very end, opportunities for South Carolina. again, it wasn't that South Carolina played great. They've got the ball, or they score. There's 4:36, I think, to go is exactly when it happened. 4:36 to go in the fourth quarter. South Carolina is within 3. They had 2 timeouts, and you're giving Missouri back the ball, knowing that Tyler Beatty's going to get it, and you're not able to get that stop and get the ball back and give Jason Brown and the offense even a chance to get down the field.
Yeah, I was looking at the chart where they ran it out, and it was literally 8 consecutive runs for Tyler Beatty, and one of them was like a 20-yard run. I can't remember which one it was, where he dragged several people. So when you know exactly what's coming and you can't stop it, they just out physicaled you, and it's really not the way you want to lose the football game. But yeah, 4 minutes, 36 seconds, 8 plays, 51 yards. Exactly what they need to do. No one touches the ball except Tyler Beatty. Actually, no. Brady Cook ran the ball 1 time.
803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning here. A few minutes left before we hand it over to Dan Patrick, and then Jay Phillips and Pearson coming back in later this afternoon. Heath Klein from 4 to 7. A reminder, you can go see Heath Klein this coming Friday. Savage Craft and Ale Works out at West Columbia, 430 Center Street, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. this Friday. Appetizers will be free from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. You can also register to win a $250 gift card to Garnet and Black Traditions, all thanks to T-Mobile, whose teams up with 107.5 The Game each and every Friday. Heath Klein this coming Friday. Savage Craft and Ale Works, 430 Center Street in West Columbia from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. This week. Again, Patrick, college football, as always, was interesting. We'll talk more NFL tomorrow because the NFL was very interesting yesterday. Aaron Rodgers back, Russell Wilson back. That was a pretty good game yesterday. Cam Newton comes back and scores a touchdown and is yelling at the crowd in Arizona, and the Panthers blow out the Arizona Cardinals 34-10.
That whole thing was a little blown out of proportion. I mean, he touched the ball 2 times, had a grand total of like 4 yards and 2 touchdowns, and everyone was going crazy. Like, what have we been doing? What has Cam's been sitting at home by himself? We can do this. It was a 2-yard run, and he threw a pass that was clearly designed to score him a touchdown. It was a big nothing, but I'm happy for him. I like Cam. I wish he would have never left, but let's relax on the 2 touchdowns and act like he just had some earth-shattering performance. He gained no yards.
Healthy and ready to go. That's what Cam Newton was.
He's back.
We went through the top 10 a little earlier. A couple other games, college football this past weekend. Texas A&M. This was actually a bigger surprise to me, Patrick. Texas A&M goes on the road. Lane Kiffin in Mississippi put it together. College Game Day was there. Mississippi gets out to the 15-0 halftime lead and then holds on, scoring 14 fourth-quarter points to win 29-19. Mississippi now moving up to number 10, I believe, in the polls. And certainly with Lane Kiffin, you got the LSU job open. And I don't know if LSU will want to go with Lane Kiffin. Miami blows that huge lead to Florida State. I say huge. They blew the 28-20 lead with 9 minutes to go in that ball game. We don't know what's going to happen with Miami. Southern Cal, I don't think they're taking Lane Kiffin back. But who knows what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin when we get to December, because he's put together a pretty impressive year for Mississippi now over there in Oxford.
Well, you also have Arch Manning. I don't know what Arch Manning's thinking, but is that something that keeps you out of school? I don't know. Is Ole Miss not, is it still a leapfrog job? Like you still go to another school on top of that? Like what is his ceiling there?
I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly it is, because I think if it wasn't Lane Kiffin, who's a little flaky and is known to kind of always have one eye looking elsewhere.
Has been in the past, but he was also young at that point, because all of those moves, he was the youngest to do this. He was the youngest to do that. He was the youngest NFL coach, and he's an older guy now, and he's got a kid, and maybe he's more mature. I don't know that we can just keep saying, "Oh, this is what Lane Kiffin is," just because he made mistakes when he was younger. Look how mature he is. He picked Tennessee to win the football game.
It's true, yes.
And he was wrong.
He picked Tennessee. If you didn't see that on College Game Day.
Have you seen a coach be a guest picker before? I've never seen that.
No, I didn't really catch that. I was having to do the pregame show with Heath, and I was unaware that he was the actual guest picker.
Oh yeah, he was the guest picker on College Game Day.
So what, they couldn't locate Katy Perry?
I think Katy Perry asked him to fill in for her or something.
Are you being serious about that?
Yeah, no, I think they met. That's what they mentioned. They were probably kidding to an extent, but yeah, Lane Kiffin was the guest picker.
I was doing the pregame show with Heath at that time, and no, I did not catch that at all. I saw him do some segments, I didn't realize that's exactly what he was doing. 803-404-6100. We'll wrap up the program, get final thoughts as well here, the Monday edition of the early game. You're listening to 107.5 The Game. It's that time of the year to be saving money, and if you're not doing it, then why? Why would you not be calling Benji Getsy right now to check on the incredible market conditions that exist with mortgages? Whether you're looking to refinance or you're thinking about moving in 2022, now's the time to call Bay Street, where the rates are better than they are on Wall Street. 843-524-2404. Don't wait. Call Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404. Let Benji Getsy and his experienced staff earn your business with a simple evaluation anytime, day or night. So you can give them a call right now, 843-524-2404. Homeowners are being able to save $300 to $500 per month if you've recently purchased a home in the last 3 or 4 years just by refinancing and using Benji Getsy with Buford Lending. That's right. And there's also cash out refinancing options that are dominating the refinancing markets as consumers take advantage of their increasing property values nationwide. So if you've been thinking about refinancing, maybe you want a little money back in your pocket just as this cash out refinancing continues to dominate, now's the time to call Bay Street. Again, why Bay Street? Because that is where Buford Lending and Benji Getsy are located. 843-524-2404. Let Benji and his team earn your business today. 843-524-2404. That's Benji Getsy and Buford Lending.
To see for yourself with Allstate. You can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Hey guys, it's Heath Klein here for T-Mobile. T-Mobile phones at 5 the game are teaming up every Friday in November for free giveaways. This week, we want you to stop by Savage Craft Ale Works in West Columbia from 4 to 7 to enter for your chance to win a $250 gift card to Garnet Black Traditions. Plus, there'll be free appetizers from 4 to 5. It's all thanks to T-Mobile, the official 5G sponsor of the SEC. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or over. See site for details. Void where prohibited. We will see you out there. Savage Craft Ale Works in West Columbia. You're 105 the game.
Football season is here. Visit Discount Tire and let our pros take care of you.
What Friday
So
night
you
game?
never miss a moment of the game. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online. Use Treadwell, your personal tire guide, to find the right tire for your driving habits and get the same expert advice that you get in the store. At Discount Tire, we take pride in making your experience with us as easy as possible.
Last Friday, yeah.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's been busy this morning, but good.
It was on ESPN, like Maine, right?
Such talking to the mic.
Basically, the equipment used was like basically all the backup stuff.
So it looked like a high school broadcast.
Yeah, basically. And apparently now the Pac-12 is not happy, and they dug into it, and they found out now it's kind of leaking out about what ESPN is.
I mean, there's no rules or regulations or anything for that, right? It's just like ESPN doesn't feel like they need to put a great crew on that game. So it is what it is. Was the Pac-12 going to leave? Cut their deal with ESPN? They're already with Fox. All right. He played. Hope you're being negative again. He played one good game against us last year. Then he wasn't even that good. Yeah, I mean, he really didn't have.
Hey.
Right now, when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you can get $30 off your next air duct cleaning plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Schedule online at Zero Waste Columbia. Zero Waste, the right way to clean.
2 minutes.
Parsons. He is a beast.
SEC shorts looks like it's pretty fun.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here at 107.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure thing.
Coming through. Sorry, I have a fast pass for this line. Regina, my sunshine, how are you?
Be good.
Including the right ones for your make and model. We've even got more ways to get them fast. Like our next
What? I don't know what came out this weekend.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping
Clifford came out this weekend. What do you think about Clifford?
offering supplies and solutions for every industry.
You don't know what Clifford is?
Support and experienced staff
Yeah, Clifford is the big red dog.
local branches.
They've made a live action movie of it.
Or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
King Richard comes out on Friday. That should be good.
107.5 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It is that time of the year. Holiday shopping is upon us. And if you're stumped on what to get that person who has it all, look no further and shop local with our Sweet Bids auction. That's right. You can go to 1075thegame.com to bid. The auction ends this coming Thursday at 4 p.m. Plenty of great things to bid on. I was looking at the $950 Palmetto tree earrings from Lexington Jewelers. You never know just how much you can use when you give those away. Right now, $299 if you bid on those. There's also a frameless shower and enclosure delivery and installation from Absolute Glass, $449. Again, you can check that out. Incredible prices there. You can go to 1075thegame.com to bid on our auction going on, our Sweet Deals auction. The auction again ends Thursday, November 18th at 4 p.m. If you're wondering what else we have on there, just go visit the 1075thegame.com website to bid, and you can place your bid there and see what else you might be able to take home. Patrick coming straight in from St. Louis. The flight got delayed, had to drive in, has made it. There you go.
Got in at 3 a.m. So
Okay.
I'm ready to go back to bed.
He is ready to head back to bed. So we have covered Missouri and South Carolina about as closely and as well as we can. We will wrap that portion up tomorrow and then move on. Auburn and TJ Finley heading to Columbia this coming weekend. Patrick, another visit with TJ Finley. We'll get into that. We'll talk about some college football tomorrow, South Carolina basketball as well, but that'll be tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Jen, welcome back as well.
Thanks. I'll be off tomorrow.
Excellent work. Yes. All right. You've been listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Well done.
All right, everybody. Yep. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, Alan, no prep time at all.